outlining the country's readiness to deliver a secure exam season.
This year, we have 766,000 candidates who have registered as full-time candidates. This is the highest number since the public examinations have started in 1996. We've also have about 137,000 part-time candidates. This also represents a sustained downward trend.
And European countries have approved a plan by the European Commission to phase out both pipeline gas and liquefied natural gas imports from Russia. This move breaks a dependency the bloc has struggled to end despite Moscow's war on the Ukraine. Europe has been under pressure from the US to speed up moves to sever its energy ties with Moscow and buy more American liquefied natural gas. Hungary and Slovakia did not support the ban. Gold is trading at $4,252.83 an ounce. The rand is at 17.32 to the dollar, 23.28 to the pound, 20.19 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.05 a barrel.
Roadwork still slowing down traffic in the Kelvin Alex area. That's on the N3 in both directions between London Road and the Butlu interchange. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights in four ways at Witkoppen and Main. And there's also traffic lights out of order at Rand Park Ridge at Bearsnodi and the N1.
In your sport, Shan Masood scores half-century as Pakistan end day one of the second test against South Africa on 259 for 5. Zachary Porthen earns maiden Springbok call-up for the outgoing tour. And Manchester United end their 9-year Anfield drought with Liverpool win.
It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 16 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: an investigation is underway in Cape Town following a deadly shooting on the R300 highway earlier today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 7 minutes past 3 on Monday, the 20th of October. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you are listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope Monday's been as good as a rainy Monday can be. And I hope that when you drive home, you're going to be looking out for any potential hazards. More rain is on the way. The Madlanga Commission is back in business today, in camera in terms of visuals, but with the proceedings audible and therefore you and I and everyone else to listen to. Our EWN colleague, Oren Singh, is paying particularly close attention as some very important and intriguing stuff comes out. He's with us at 10 past 4. Some other stories we're doing. If we as a country can only get limited amounts of a drug that prevents HIV/AIDS, how do we decide on who should get the treatment? With the drug lenacapavir likely to be approved by the end of the month, this is a decision that requires careful and complicated consideration. There are, of course, issues of the individual health of the person who gets the drug, and then there are the larger epidemiological public health considerations as to do you try and stem the potential tide of HIV in a particular community? Do you focus on particular groups? Lots to think about. Fortunately, Mia Milan from the health website Peggy Sisa has been giving this some careful thought. She's with us after 5. Are delays in updating instrument flight procedures at our airports costing airlines millions and creating safety concerns? The airlines say that's the case, but the Air Traffic Navigation Service says no, it's not quite that simple or even necessarily true. More on that issue in a moment. And speaking of travel, how do we re-gear Gauteng's automotive industry to become a real competitor in the space of electric vehicles? We'll talk about that at 10 to 4. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets, where the All Share is down again today, not as sharply as it was on Friday, but still down by 165 points. It has not been a good day for resources. That index weaker by 2.3%, steep falls for both gold and platinum stocks. Sibanye, starting with platinum, down by 4.2%. Well, Sibanye Platinum and gold for that matter. Northam is weaker by 3.7%. Anglo Gold is down by 3.6%. Similar loss for DRD Gold. Financials are helping to minimize the overall damage. That index up by 1.15%. And the rand is doing pretty well, actually, trading at 17.31 against the US dollar. A euro will cost you 20 rand 18, 23 rand and 22 cents will get you a pound. The oil price is down by 44 cents, with Brent crude trading at $60.85 a barrel. Stephen Critters joining us with all the details at 4:25. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga. Mbali Dlamini has the latest news headlines. Karabo Chale keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, you will get to hear about it here first. But if you hear about it before us, you're part of the news team, Give us a call on 072 702 1702 or give us a ring on 011 883 0702. This is 702 Drive. It's 11 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So we've got lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, lots to think about. And when it comes to thoughts, well, some of the most interesting thoughts are often the most random. But never mind random thoughts today. Today we actually have a task. We have been charged with putting together a gift pack of 5 items that will be presented to the G20 delegates when they come to South Africa. And all of the 5 items in the gift pack need to be representative in some way of South Africa and its people and its spirit. So it's our task, but it's yours as well. Please give us your thoughts on this. Give us your ideas. 5 things to go into the gift pack. They have to kind of fit in a box. So no big wooden giraffe. Well, actually, if you want to give a massive wooden giraffe, hey, just get a bigger bag, I guess. Let's start. Everyone on the team, we've got 5 people here. 2 Karabos, Malapile and Chale. We've got 2 Johns, Perlman and Fairburn. And we have a Litsua in the person of Rifue. We'll do our level best. So who's going to start? Kabazela, you want to go?
Yeah, if you want me to, that's fine. Afternoon, John, and afternoon to our 702 family. So I had one funny little gesture and then one proper thing that I think should go in the box. So let's start off with the item that I think is proper and must go in the box. I would give a mohair blanket.
Okay.
So
cool.
South Africa produces over half of the world's mohair. So a nice mohair blanket in that box would be great. To highlight the mohair manufacturing that we do in the country, and obviously it's farming from the Angora goats in the Eastern Cape. And then one which I thought would be just for a bit of a laugh, the South African flag Speedo. If it's for a man,
That's a good one.
and then for the lady, maybe a bikini or a costume with the South African flag.
So South African flag, skimpy swimsuits.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've given us 2. So those are alternatives. So I'm still short of 4. Karabo Malapile, how about yours?
Hi, John and the listeners. I also have 2 things.
Okay.
The one thing will be avos from Limpopo. I know there are avocados everywhere in the world, but you have to eat avos from Limpopo, and I will put that in the box. The second one will be a calabash. That you can put a drink on it. You don't have to put something, but you can also use it as decor. So I will also have a nice calabash to go into the box.
So maybe the calabash could be the box, hey? Because we're thinking...
Yes, and then you put stuff inside.
Brilliant.
Starting with my avos. Yeah.
Let me just check with the avos. Are those the big round ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay, brilliant. All right, so we're loading up. We have 4, but they're alternate. So we still need 3. Karabo, one more... Charlie this time.
Very simple. A packet of biltong.
Okay.
That will work. And I was thinking also a beshu, a loincloth. That represents South Africa, because I think every tribe of men, African men, wear a beige shoe or a loin cloth. So that will represent us very well.
Okay, so we're doing well. We're on 6, but we're going to have to trim. So we'll do that in the course of the show. Refue, are you doubling up or have you just got one?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. I just have one. So I want to give them a day pass into the CBD where they go to Mai, where they can eat, your sheep heads, to seeing people sell chickens. It's a bit of a culture shock, even for me, but once you get over it, it's really nice. There's a young community there in Mai. You get clothes as well. You really just get I would say a bit of an authentic part of the South African experience where let's eat, what is it called? Walkie-talkies, the Montwanas, the trotters. Let's get into it.
But they can't take it home.
No,
they take
can't.
the experience home.
And in their stomach, they've taken it home, John. It's also in their stomach.
Hopefully not. Okay, so I'm going to hold mine back for a moment because we're doing well. We are going to have to reduce it to 5. I don't know who we could give some executive power to. I was going to suggest a pack of Karoo lamb chops, but I think we've got biltong. So we've got our list here, and I think we should get it down to 5, let's say by 4 o'clock, because we still need Tolakele Mganga's position on what she would put in her box. So she's welcome to add as many as she likes. Okay, but let's start with you. Okay, here we go. A bulletproof vest, says to me, a makalapa, and maybe a vuvuzela.
Yes.
So it's piling up. Okay. The vuvuzela. Imagine if they all get their vuvuzelas out on the plane. They might need their makarapas when the rest of the passengers suggest this is a bad idea. This is fun. And by the way, we do not have the contract for the gift box yet. But you never know, eh? 17 minutes past 3. What's happening on the roads?
Well, at this stage, John, fairly quiet. It's not yet hectic on our roads at this hour. However, we still have those roadworks causing some delays in the Kelvin Alex area, N3 South, between the Between Change and London Road. Also in the Fourways area, traffic lights not working at Witkoppen and Main. Also, traffic lights out of order in Bryanston at Winnie Mandela Drive and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings.
4 to 6.
2 civic organizations who are calling for a protest to the union buildings happening in Pretoria. Enough is enough and Stand Up SA.
Africa, we are right there in the middle and we are the ones who got all the permits for this march. It's a legal march. It's a non-partisan march.
Here's a voice note.
I don't understand people who says they fear Mbalula and Mashadile's presidency, talking about the evils of the ANC in terms of fraud and corruption, stealing from the public and buying Lamborghinis and Ferraris.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Study your law degree at Regenesis Law School in Sandton or online and build a successful future with leading multinational corporations, or launch your own legal practice. A Regenesis Law degree is profoundly transformational, shaping intellectually sharp, fearless warriors of justice and purpose-driven lawyers. Regenesis is Africa's fastest-growing education institution, with 1,000 multinational clients across 12 countries and a faculty of 100 industry experts. Enroll now for your law degree at Regenesis Law School at law.regenesis.net.
The Wits School of Governance develops leaders and innovators who reimagine governance, strengthen institutions, and drive inclusive growth across Africa. Your journey to impact starts there, from postgraduate diplomas to masters, PhD programs, and executive education tailored for today's wicked problems. They equip change makers in government, civil society, and the private sector with the tools to lead boldly and with purpose. Governance matters. Visit wsg.ac.za and apply today.
Summer is about rewarding yourself with oceanic views, sizzling braais, and so much more. Earn your share of 120 million rand in real cashback, depending on your rewards tier, when you pay with your Absa Visa card. Plus, enter the Absa Swiper competition and stand a chance to win one of 10 cars. This summer could be the best you've had in years. Your story matters. Absa, T's and C's apply. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. What I would put in those gift box for the G20 visitors would be a small bottle of Amarilla cream. And maybe we could give them a miniature Nguni skin spear and assegai and shield. Spear is assegai, and maybe a knopkiri and a panga to protect themselves while they're here. Granny G. Boxburg.
Yeah, we've got another suggestion from Norsi who says biltong, shweshwe themed gift bags, beaded bracelets with the South African flag, Zulu headgear, and a small vuvuzela. Keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. If you've just joined us, a gift pack of 5 items for G20 delegates that you feel would give them a good sense of South Africa and its people. Yeah, got some good suggestions so far. Let's get more. 21 past 3.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, the Executive Mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero, has been briefing the media today. My understanding is this is to do with ongoing work they're doing on De Villiers Street, an important part of the inner city. Some of it involves what the Mayor's office describes as, quote, reclaiming public spaces, enforcement of bylaws, and strategies for fostering a conducive environment for economic activities. So, what happened at the briefing? Let's find out. Alpha Ramushwana, very good afternoon to you. Was the mayor talking just about De Villiers Street, or are they using that to test some ideas that they might apply across the city? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. So De Villiers Street used to be a street in Johannesburg CBD where a lot of informal trading would take place, similar to Liliengoy or Bree Street in the inner city. And what the mayor was talking about today was the process to reclaim these public spaces from unauthorized informal traders. The city has acknowledged that informal trading and informal traders that operate in places that are not designated areas contribute to the uncleanliness of the municipality. And you'd remember that a few months ago, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero and Panyaza Lesufi, the Premier of Gauteng, launched an initiative to reclaim and fix and clean the CBD of Johannesburg. And they say a huge part of that involves removing informal traders who are operating in places that are not authorized by the municipality. And now they're saying, well, today they've announced that they have launched a process to authorize or regulate the industry, rather. So informal traders will now be required to possess certificates and permits in order for them to continue operating their businesses at designated spots. And the municipality is going to be rolling out that program of making sure that these informal traders have the correct documents and are operating at the designated areas. So the reclaiming of public spaces, the mayor announcing today, that involves removing these informal traders from places that are not designated and authorized by the municipality.
I mean, how are they going to sustain this? Because the fact that we have all this trading, Alpha, in places where trading is not meant to take place, would suggest to me that firstly, these traders are doing this because they don't have jobs and they need to do other kind of work. But secondly, if you ask someone to move, they're not going to stop trading. They're going to move somewhere else. And invariably, I would think, they're going to move into a spot where there's already someone plying their wares. I mean, did the mayor address that?
I mean, I think that's going to be the difficulty for the city of Johannesburg, because they have been removing these informal traders and placing them at spots that are designated for informal trading. And those spots often are already saturated, and there are already many other informal traders who are already operating from there. And usually the informal traders prefer to operate where there is a taxi rank or where there are a lot of residential housing, so that they have access to customers. And we did pose that question to the Johannesburg Metro Police Department, which was also here today, and the executive mayor. And he says that they're going to be developing many other designated areas. So they do understand and acknowledge right now that there's a limitation and there isn't enough designated spots for informal trading. So their job now is to allocate more spaces that will allow them to operate at. And I mean, of course, they have been removing them, but they have been going back. They have been finding other spaces. And that's the challenge that they're dealing with. the mayor says Johannesburg Metro Police is going to be visible now to ensure that the informal traders don't go back to places where they were moved from.
Thanks very much, Alpha Ramoshwana. I mean, if you live in the inner city and you actually maybe you're involved in informal trading, or you pass them on your way to work or on your way from wherever you live to the place where you're going to spend the day, give us your sense of it. I don't know how you put in place a solution that sticks, but I've never tried to do this. So please do give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 7021 702, 25 past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, let's return to an issue that we have discussed before. The Airline Association of Southern Africa continues to raise its concerns, and they did so at the organization's 55th annual assembly that was held in Lusaka. Their concerns that something called instrument flight procedures at our airports, many of these are suspended. There are more than 200 of them that are still going through an approval process. And according to the association CEO, Arun Munetsi, this is causing huge disruption. Airlines are spending lots of money in additional fuel. There are maintenance issues. They're having to compensate crew and customers, and they believe this is damaging South Africa's reputation. However, the Air Traffic Navigation Service, which is responsible for driving this process, says that the concerns that are being raised are not being fairly portrayed. And Mpilo Dlamini, who's head of corporate affairs and communications at the Air Traffic Navigation Services, joins us now. A very good afternoon to you, and thanks very much for giving us your time. First of all, can you confirm that there are more than 200 flight procedures that have not gone through the full approval process? And if that is true, when will that process be completed?
Thank you so much, John, for the opportunity. We can confirm that we have a number of flight procedures that are not approved, but the number has slightly gone down from 200 to about a few. Actually, as we speak now, we are talking about flight procedures in Polokwane, Kimberley, Appington, Bramfisher, in Bloemfontein, Richards Bay, Kruger, Mpumalanga International Airport, as well as Chief David Sturman International in Gqeberha, formerly known as Port Elizabeth International Airport.
So what is it? How many are a few? I mean, a few in my mind would be 7, but you've suggested that there are many more than that. What is the number?
I will say around there are around 10 now that are really critical flight procedures that are outstanding.
Well, are the rest non-critical?
The rest are non-critical because we are talking about en route procedures that do not necessarily have impact on flights or aeroplanes or aircraft landing in particular airports, which are called en routes, which are more like flight procedures that are talking about, routes that are not critical for landing and taking off at airports.
We've been having this conversation, I think it's fair to say, for a number of years now. What's been behind the delay, and has part of your getting the approvals through also involved an addressing of the reasons why we found ourselves in this position in the first place? Because it hasn't been a productive chapter, I think it's fair to say, in our airline industry history.
I think, John, I have mentioned even before that the issue of our critical skills being pushed out of the organization has been a major cause for this issue to be as it is now. And then obviously I've mentioned before that the issue of COVID also added fuel into the fire. But then now we have tried to resource the area of technical skills. We have brought a lot of people from international companies to come and assist us, and they have done so. That's why now we are talking of about less than 10 critical procedures that are still outstanding. That's why I am also confirming to you, John, that we have got operational target dates for these outstanding critical procedures to be the 27th of November, because we have them approved by our regulator, which is the South African Civil Aviation Authority. They are approved. They are awaiting what we call publication, meaning that operational date, and we have target date of the 27th of November. So from the 27th of November, you will see a lot of our procedures now operational in our critical airports. Then we have a critical airport called Kruger Mpumalanga Airport, International Airport. It's critical because it is a gateway to most of our tourism assets and destination. This particular airport, there are two procedures for runway 05. Two of them were suspended over a week ago. We have applied to the CAA for what is called an exemption, meaning that we want to continue and use the suspended procedures because we feel that they are still usable, they can still be operational. So that particular process, we are waiting an approval for our exemption application from the regulator.
Well, can I ask, I mean, if you think of Kruger and Mpumalanga International Airport, critical for tourism, as you say, this is a tricky time of year with the roads. I've flown in there a lot, and anything that delays landing there would cause severe problems. Why did we reach the point where it got suspended? Were deadlines not met?
Like I've mentioned, John, there are so many procedures across the country that, lapse in terms of their timing. So these particular procedures, their 5-year period, came to an end about a week ago. So
but that's the part I don't understand, Mr. Dlamini. I mean, when a 5-year procedure is coming to an end, you've got 5 years in which to prepare. I mean, what went wrong that allowed this to reach the point of lapse?
I think it goes back to the point that I've mentioned, that our critical skills have been stressed across the country to an extent that Mpumalanga came to a point where we had to suspend them before we could update and get approval from the regulator.
So you say yourself it's absolutely critical in our tourism infrastructure. Your resources are spread thin, and you choose not to focus on an airport that, in your words, not mine, is critical. Why would you make that choice?
No, it was not a matter of choosing, it was more like all of the procedures that I've mentioned, we have prioritized them. That is why I have said earlier that we have made sure that we have them approved by the CAA. But when Mpumalanga came about 2 weeks ago, we had no option but to actually suspend them and start on another process to update them and seek approval from the CAA.
Thank you so much. Mpilo Dlamini, Head of Corporate Affairs and Communications at the Air Traffic Navigation Services. If it's an industry you work in, perhaps you're in the airlines, perhaps you yourself are involved in those safety processes, give us a call if you've got some insight. 702 Drive, it's 28 minutes to 4. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. Mbali Dlamini, good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Under the DA's proposed economic policy, companies that do business with the state would no longer be required to have any percentage of black ownership or subcontract to black-owned companies. Today, the party held a media briefing where it proposed the Public Procurement Amendment Bill, which seeks to replace triple BEE. Black equity and enterprise supply development are crucial elements that companies need to adhere to in the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Scorecard in order to qualify for government contracts. Tabiso Koba has more.
The Triple BEE scorecard has 5 elements: ownership, management control, skills development, enterprise, and socio-economic development. The DA's proposed policy replaces the scorecard with only 2 elements: value for money procurement weighting 80% on the scorecard and economic inclusion 20%. DA's head of policy, Matthew Cuthberts, says there is also a disqualification criteria that excludes bidders with a proven record of fraud and corruption.
So simply shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic by trying to give over shares or give over ownership to a company when it is in essence being used as a method for fronting doesn't actually filter down in the way in which the ANC purports it to do.
Cuthbert says the DA is yet to consult its GNU partners on supporting its bill. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, the case against a KwaZulu-Natal police officer accused of killing another officer in the Marion Hill area of Durban a week ago has now been postponed. The matter will return to court next week to allow for further investigations to take place. The officer appeared in the Pinetown Magistrates Court today in connection with the murder of Crime Intelligence Officer Sibonelo Ngidi. Ngidi was shot and killed in what is believed to have been a road rage incident. Magistrate Wendelin Robinson confirmed that an identity parade is still pending.
At this stage, I know that the media is interested, and I had initially, before the recording had commenced, that I had allowed the media to record the matter, but because of the ID parade, if the accused's face could please be blocked from all broadcasting. For purposes of the ID parade, we do not want the investigations to be compromised in any manner.
A German runner has described how his disappointment after the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon was cancelled led him to do a solo run on the West Coast Highway. About 24,000 marathon entrants woke up to a message from the event organizer early on Sunday morning saying that race had been cancelled. Severe winds hit the city overnight on Saturday, causing damage to infrastructure at the starting point and along the route, prompting the officials to cancel the event. Carlo Peterson has more.
Dieter Barnard came all the way from Munich, Germany to run his first Cape Town Marathon. Barnard says he joined thousands of runners at Canal Walk at about 4:15 on Sunday morning to board My City buses which were to transport them to the start of the race.
We sat in the bus for a whole hour and wondered why the buses aren't leaving, and then the news came about 5:15 and nobody could believe it. Nobody could believe it in the bus, and nobody wanted to get out of the bus.
Barnard says his disappointment led him to do something crazy.
I decided I want to do the marathon, and I ran all the way from Maxwellstrand to Milnerton Lagoon, and then I ran all the way back via Bloberg to Melkbosstrand, and I completed my 42.2.
Barnard says he's proud of himself for doing his first marathon, even though it was unofficial. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Japanese retailer Muji has stopped domestic online shopping services. The retailer has been dealing with a major cyber attack which began last month. The company says it is unable to receive orders online or ship out products to corporate or individual customers. Investigations are underway to ascertain whether the attack has led to breaches of private information, including customer data. A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated afternoon showers and thundershowers. Lows of between 9 and 14 degrees and highs of between 20 and 24.
In the Kelvin Alex area, we still have those roadworks causing delays heading towards Bedfordview. That's on the N3 southbound between the Butlu Interchange and London Road. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights in Bryanston at Winnie Mandela Drive and the N1.
The top story in EWN this hour: under the DA's proposed economic policy, companies that do business with the state would no longer be required to have any percentage of black ownership.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja, 1 to 3 p.m.
Can we get into the part where consent or the lack thereof is not blatant, as in a person did not necessarily say no, but we know and understand what the cues are?
When we're talking about body language, that can be subjective, and that's where confusion can come in, which is why it's always emphasized that if it is not an enthusiastic verbal yes, that yes, I'm here with you and I'm in this with you, you take it as a no. So if we go back to the tea method or the tea analogy that Malmoon uses, if they say yes, great, make the cup of tea, enjoy the cup of tea, enjoy the chat. Remember the euphemism behind it. If they say no, don't push it.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja.
Let's walk the talk. Psst. Hey, no longer feeling like the man you used to be?
The man who introduces himself and people say, I know.
The fact is, 95% of men with low testosterone go untreated.
Vitamin High Performance Supplements for men helps recharge energy, regain lean muscle, and reload performance. Available at all good pharmacies and Vitamin.co.za.
Vitamin. Don't get older. Get better.
Naked people never skip leg day, because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time at the gym. Go to naked.insure now. Get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Afternoon, John and the team. I think a Mzansi style booklet with all the Mzansi lingo, like hola, which means hello, danko, which means thank you, fede, how are you, ayoba, which means cool, so a kind of booklet that has all those expressions, will do for the G20 pack.
Yeah, thank you. And Vanessa adds this. I think a Shweshwe umbrella would be a wonderful item for the box and makes clear it's a compact fold-up umbrella. Fold up, squash up, or whatever, you know what I mean, the little ones. She says not a golf umbrella. Thank you, because this box was starting to get a little bit long. 20 minutes to 4, keep those coming. If you're wondering what we are doing, talking about umbrellas and lingo books and all sorts of other things we were just saying. We want to give the delegates who arrive in the country for the G20 a container with 5 gifts that speak of South Africa and South Africans in some nice, clever, entertaining, and hopefully aesthetically wonderful way. So please add to the contents. We would appreciate that very much indeed. 20 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Cricket underway. South Africa against Pakistan, the men. That's today. South Africa's women cricketers up against Pakistan. That's tomorrow out at the Women's World Cup. Tolakele has those stories and I suspect a bit of a smile on her face following yesterday's football, and why not? Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And we start with Rawalpindi, where on day 1 of the second test, Pakistan were 259 for 5 against South Africa. Abdullah Shafiq top scored with 57, while Keshav Maharaj and Simon Harmer took 2 wickets each. For the women, they'll play their penultimate round-robin game at the World Cup against Pakistan tomorrow. They're already through to the knockouts, and Mandla Mashimbi has shared what it means for him to qualify for the semi-finals.
It's actually really good for us to qualify with 2 games to play in the round robin. I think it just really showcased the character of this team. One would have thought after the first game that we will be scratching our way to the semis, but the way we went about our business in the next 4 games is second to none.
Zachary Porthen has earned his first Springbok call-up after being named in the 36-man squad for the tour in November. Ben Jason Dixon, Johan Grobler and Gerard Steenkamp will make their first appearances of the season, while Jean-Klein, Kurtley Arendse and Edwin van der Merwe are all back from injury. The Boks will face Japan, France, Italy, Ireland and Wales over 5 weeks in November. Over to the Premier League, where Manchester United won back-to-back games under Ruben Amorim for the first time. That follows their 2-1 victory over Liverpool. The win sees United in their 9-year winless drought at Anfield and are now 2 points behind the Reds in the standings.
Today was perfect. Let's try to do that in the next week. That is really important. I think was really important for our fans because they are struggling. They struggle against Greensby, they struggle against Brentford, and today they saw a different team. And that is really important to come here to this stadium with the champion, biggest rival, to sing during the game. That is massive for us. So this win is for them.
On the continent, it was contrasting fortunes for the South African teams in CAF competitions. Kaizer Chiefs and Stellenbosch played out goalless draws in the first leg second round preliminary Coffee Cup ties. Orlando Pirates were thrashed 3-0 by St. Elo Lubobo in the Champions League as a 10-game winning streak in all competitions came to an end, while Miguel Cardoso's Mamelodi Sundowns ran out comfortable 5-1 winners. That was in their clash against Nigerian champions Remo Stars.
Respect Remo Stars, respect Nigerian football, is make the best we can every moment from the first minute. And that's basically the attitude we brought on the game. And we were capable to sustain that attitude. That's why we were able to build the result we did. Because we were constant on aggressing, we made changes to continue to manage aggressivity, to put aggressivity in the front. And I think that with the goal scoring happening, there was a little bit of loss of organization from Remo Stars.
And Red Bull's Max Verstappen dominated the US Grand Prix from pole position to cut Oscar Piastri's championship lead. That's after he finished in 5th place. In the standings, Piastri now leads Lando Norris by 14 points with 5 rounds and 2 sprint races remaining. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's find out what's happening out on the roads on a rather damp day with the possibility of more rain. Listen up, here's Karabo Chale.
Well, I must say, despite the rain and the wet roads, traffic is looking pretty good at this hour. No serious accidents or huge delays have been reported. However, we still have those roadworks in the Kelvin Alex area. That's on the N3 southbound, causing some delays between the Butlu interchange and London Road. Also, traffic a bit sluggish in Protea Glen, N12 westbound, approaching the R558. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Bryanston, Winnie Mandela Drive, and the N1. Traffic lights still not working in the Greenstone, Edenville area at Morafontein Road and Van Riebeck. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, 3:45, Tolakele. 5 items in the gift box. G20 delegates flooding into Johannesburg in huge numbers. What are we going to give them if indeed the gift pack was your responsibility?
1 packet of biltong.
Okay.
Maize meal, a South African language for dummies, because we have to explain to them what Heitada means and stuff like that.
Yes.
Also a South African guide to driving on the roads, because yes, there are books that say this is what we do on the roads, but we do things differently. And then I'd say 1 national team jersey. They can pick between the Boks, the Springboks, or the Proteas, or Banyana. It's up to them, but they have to wear like some sort of national team jersey on a Friday.
Okay. And the maize meal, what? Like a
They
pack,
must make
a little
pap.
pack?
Yes, they must make pap when they get back to their hotel room.
So maybe a guide. And we need to speak to them about the fire alarms. We don't want anyone being woken up in the middle of the night because they forgot to turn their little KDAC off. Okay, so great. We're getting more stuff. We got biltong. That's becoming a favorite. Couple of people saying a guide to South African slang and phrases that we use. A guide to driving in South Africa. I don't know if that should be very, very long or very, very short. Could just say good luck. And then some maize meal and pick your national team shirt. Choose it according perhaps to a color you like or a sport you enjoy. 14 minutes to 4.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
How much buy-in is there from the ANC on this, and have you had a discussion with them about it?
This is the initial announcement of the bill itself. It is still going to be introduced through a first reading debate into Parliament. We understand we're in coalition agreement with the ANC and national government, but that doesn't mean we need to agree with them all the time. Fundamentally, we are here to represent the interests of voters, and we need to make sure that we call for the policy changes that are required in order to create an inclusive South Africa.
Matt Cuthbert.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
This week, 702 is in conversation with Auto and General. We'll be talking about Auto and General's events liability insurance. It's the insurance for event organizers, protecting them if something goes wrong. Whether you're organizing a once-off celebration or series of events, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. 702 in conversation with Auto and General this Wednesday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Auto and General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP T's and C's online.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for the microwave to beep, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 55-year-old Stefan, who now only pays an unbelievably low 611 Rand a month for his 2024 Suzuki Jimny. With Outsurance, you can drive with confidence. With up to a whopping 5 million Rand third-party liability cover that covers damage to the other person's vehicle in an accident, you can rest assured. SMS out to 45142. After switching, 55-year-old Andre now pays only 776 Rand a month for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser. Get a quote. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Welcome to the brand new days. Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea, for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Flight Centre's Big Red Sale is back. 21 October to 14 November. Save up to 50% on tours, 35% on cruises, and massive deals on Thailand, Mauritius, and the Maldives. Even local flights from 1,900 Rand return. Now that's a win. Plus, 2 kids stay and eat free on selected breaks. The world's waiting. The deals are calling. So, get to your nearest Flight Centre store today. T's and C's apply. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
10 minutes to 4, 702 Drive with John Perlman is brought to you by the NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy. In a strategic move to cement South Africa's position in the global new energy vehicle revolution, the Automotive Industry Development Centre, Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone, and the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency are proud to announce the new Energy Vehicle Summit 2025. The theme will be driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy. Through the summit, Gauteng is not only showcasing its potential, but it is also actively pursuing the ecosystem for battery manufacturing, charging infrastructure, and NEV supply chains. The Deputy Board Chairperson of the AIDC, Tshegofatso Ditswane, joins us now to unpack the province's readiness for this transition and the role of the NEV Summit in shaping South Africa's automotive future on 702. Mr. Ditswane, welcome. Thanks for giving us your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. Thank you very much, Mr. John, and good afternoon to you and your listeners.
So, obviously, so much is changing in the automotive industry. We've had long conversations about tariffs and the impact on a South African industry that sees the US as a sizable market. Not a lot of focus on how we move into that NEV space. What is the importance of the summit in trying to, get some ideas going, but crucially, to get some decisions made?
Thank you very much, John. So the NEV Summit, which is going to take place this week on the 22nd and 23rd, plays a central role in realizing Gauteng's vision of becoming Africa's green industrial hub. So this is particularly significant given the province's leadership in the automotive manufacturing, driven by what we term we call it the Northern Corridor, which houses the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone, whom the anchor investor is Ford, together with the Automotive Supplier Park, which I have the privilege of chairing. So these strategic developments have successfully attracted global OEMs, including Ford and BMW, to name a few, because they're in the Northern Corridor, reinforcing Gauteng's position as a premier destination for sustainable automotive production. So NEV manufacturing is the next frontier of industrial development in South Africa. So we're definitely moving away from what we call the ICE, internal combustion engines, because the world is going towards that direction. And broadly, we need to align, and especially given the fact that South Africa, greater a portion of the cars that we manufacture in South Africa go to the EU market. So, and the EU market has taken a policy position to go green and, cut off the ICE, internal combustion engines, and towards NEV. So we need to align, and we need to be in alignment with them. So this particular summit basically will actually help us in terms of showcasing our potential. Then we are actively pursuing the ecosystem for battery manufacturing, charging infrastructure, and NEV supply chain. So basically, that's that.
So there's a lot on the go, but do we have a national framework? We've had white papers on electric vehicles. All of this would move forward surely with greater pace, but crucially in some kind of lockstep. If everybody understands, okay, this is the part I play in a national policy. Do we have a national policy?
So national policy, so we have broadly what we call the Automotive Master Plan 2030. And to feeding into that, we definitely have the 2023 electric vehicle white paper. So South Africa's automotive sector has made a strong progress towards global competitiveness in the new energy vehicle market, with a mature manufacturing base, skilled workforce, and rich mineral resources. The country is well positioned to drive Africa's green industrial transition. So this particular white paper, it's quite critical, and we definitely do have a policy direction which goes towards that direction. So, and then also now, to maintain the momentum, South Africa must accelerate its efforts in battery manufacturing, charging infrastructure, and energy security while investing in supply development. And we are really, in AIDC, we really are keen about that, because we are for what we call localization. So as much as broadly in the manufacturing, value chain, we are for localization. So our local industries need to participate in the broader, value chain. Yeah.
So what kind of jobs get created? I mean, we've done very, very well over many years in creating down and upstream small businesses and employment opportunities in the internal combustion industry that we have already. Do NEVs offer similar opportunities, and are we getting ready to take advantage of those?
Yeah, so the NEV space does actually provide that, although of course the broader understanding is that when coming to NEVs, it's automation heavy, and then the broader perception is that we are not necessarily quite competitive. But actually the Gauteng province is actually quite strong when coming to the labor force in relation to that. We are directly competing with the Eastern Cape, which is the number one manufacturer of cars in the country, and then second is us. So basically, when part of our competitive advantage is the workforce and the skill. So positioning ourselves will actually help us basically to strengthen the, our competitive advantage, and then, basically create jobs in that particular space. And also to highlight, for instance, we have what we call the AIDC Center of Excellence, and we are going to launch it on the 31st of October 2025. So we are ensuring that the transition creates real benefits for South Africans, particularly youth, women, and SMMEs. So the Center of Excellence is designed to bridge the gap between industry demand and workforce capability by offering high quality accessible training, fostering innovation, and strengthening local supplier competitiveness. We've partnered with quite a few entities, and basically so that we can drive hard towards this particular strategic initiative. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much to my guest, Tshegofatso Ditswane, who is Deputy Board Chairperson at the Automotive Industry Development Centre. A very interesting and important summit coming up later this year, the New Energy Vehicle Summit. Now, the future of mobility is here, and it's powered by clean energy. You can join business leaders, policymakers, and innovators at the NEV Summit 2025, taking place on 22 and 23 October. You can help drive Africa's green industrial revolution, building new industries, creating jobs, and positioning Gauteng as the hub of sustainable mobility. Visit evsummit2025.co.za to learn more. The NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy. It's 2 minutes to 4.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Dreaming of a tropical escape? World Leisure Holidays has your ticket to paradise with exclusive getaways to the Indian Ocean Islands. From the beaches of Mauritius and the Maldives to the charm of Madagascar, Seychelles, Zanzibar, and more, your dream destination awaits. Take advantage of early bird specials and pay stay offers. Call 011-285-2500 and mention 702 for a mystery discount. Or follow us on social media or contact your nearest travel professional. Start planning your escape today. T's and C's apply.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services Plus, My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive coming up for the news at 4. After 4 o'clock, we're going to be chatting to our EWN colleague, Oren Singh. I think he's had a very, very interesting day because even though he could not sit in at the Madlanga Commission, there are certain strictures to some degree, and in-camera hearing. But boy, some of the stuff, because they've been able to listen to what the witness, called Witness A, had to say. And a lot of it sounds really important. Some of it, I have to say, sounds rather alarming. But Oren's keeping a close ear and eye on things. He's going to be with us after 4 o'clock. Later in the show, a chance to win 2,000 Rand and to get in the draw for yet another collection of fabulous Bruce Springsteen vinyl. That's coming away at 10 to 5. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The Education Department beefs up security around matric exam papers, and the search for a missing man at the Westdene Dam wraps up for the day. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Basic Education Department has introduced GPS trackers on trucks transporting matric exam papers. Minister Siviwe Gwahube shared the news during a media briefing in Skukuza in Mpumalanga today. She says the trucks will undergo grueling checks at every stage of distribution to avoid the costly mishaps on exam paper leaks that have been seen in the previous years. Jabulile Mbata reports.
This year has recorded the highest number of candidates registered to write the public matric exams, totaling over 900,000 learners. The confirmed number of exam centers are 6,955, with 500 of those being independent schools. Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwahube says the exams are the largest public assessment in the education system, adding that outside of elections, there is no larger event needing logistical coordination. She says they have prepared all year to mitigate risks attached to the papers.
Integrity is not a negotiable. It is the cornerstone of the NSC certificate and, of course, the public trust in our education system. This year, we have 6,376 public schools and 579 independent schools that will serve as official examination centers, a total of 6,955 nationwide.
She added that there are almost 200 marking centers with more than 40,000 markers, invigilators and data capturers ready to support the exams. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News, Mpumalanga.
Search efforts for a missing man believed to have drowned at the Westdene Dam in Johannesburg have wrapped up for the day. Emergency teams say they will only resume their search on Wednesday. Pumlani Gladile's family says he was acting strange before his disappearance. Teams began a search for the 25-year-old after a fisherman alerted police that he spotted what he believes was a floating body in the dam. Gladile was reported missing by his family yesterday. Thandoluhle Ngcobo has more.
The family of Pumlani Gladile says prior to them filing a missing persons report, they were notified that the 25-year-old was acting out of character lately. Gladile's cousin, Aphiwe Mvubu.
What you heard from his housemates is that from Wednesday, he started acting strange, like talking alone, doing strange things around the house.
He says they were later notified to come identify a bag which was found near the dam after a fisherman reported to authorities that he had seen a man who was seemingly not in a right state of mind dive into the dam and later saw a body floating. During search and recovery operations today, rescue crews focused on the far end of the dam where they believed the body could be stuck. However, after hours of searching, the rescue teams came up short. The operation has been halted for the rest of the afternoon, with police saying they will resume on Wednesday. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
A witness from the Organised Crime Unit has testified before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry on how the team investigating the murder of Vereniging engineer Ahmed Swart was brief about the pushback they would receive from police. Witness A presented the evidence today while testifying partially in camera due to risks posed to his safety. Witness A is testifying from a safe house at an undisclosed location, with his voice being broadcast but his face is being hidden. Oren Singh reports.
Witness A has testified how the murder of Vereniging engineer Ahmed Swart was the start of unraveling the Big Five criminal syndicates in Gauteng. He testified that upon arresting 3 of the initial suspects in connection with Swart's murder, including police officer Michael Pulwetawu, the investigators were briefed by organised crime head Major General Richard Shibiri. Shibiri told the team that those arrested were linked to notorious taxi boss Jotan Msibi, otherwise known as Mswati, who died in January last year.
He was a person that was widely known as a taxi owner, and he was a ruthless someone in terms of killings.
Shibiri allegedly also confirmed that the accused had links to someone in the Hawks, only known as Zungu. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, prosecutors opposing bail for alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Madlanga have conceded that investigators may have misinterpreted details around payments which they believe were made for the hit allegedly called by Madlanga. Madlanga escalated his quest for bail to the High Court today. He is appealing a decision by the Alexandra Magistrates Court which denied him bail last month. Madlanga is accused of being the mastermind behind a hit on his socialite girlfriend Tebogo Tobejane in 2023. Khomotso Medise has more.
One of the allegations made by the state is that Vusimuzi Madlanga made several payments to his co-accused and alleged hitman Diego Mabusela through his daughter Ntabiseng for the hit on socialite and actress Tebogo Tobejane. But Madlanga insists he deposited 100,000 rand into Mabusela's account to help with funeral arrangements as his mother had just died. The state hit back, claiming that the payment was made hours before his mother's passing and so could not have been for the funeral. But today, Madlanga's lawyer, Advocate Lawrence Hurtis, presented an affidavit from Mabusela's sister, confirming that when the payment was made, her mother had indeed died. The prosecutor, who cannot be named, responded to this revelation.
I would want to contend the court not to only consider the fact that she was malicious, the investigating officer, but that she made a bona fide mistake with regard to the reporting.
Judgment has been reserved and Judge Piet du Plessis promised to deliver a verdict by Friday or Monday. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
And further afield, 10 South Koreans have been arrested in Cambodia for their alleged involvement in cyber scams. The latest arrests come just days after dozens accused of working on the vast fraud operation were repatriated. Cambodia sent home 64 South Korean nationals who had been held for their alleged links to the scams. The repatriated individuals have been implicated in crimes like voice phishing, romance scams, and so-called no-show fraud schemes. According to the Foreign Ministry, about 550 South Koreans had been reported missing or held against their will after entering Cambodia since last year. Gold is trading at $4,319.66 an ounce. The rand is at 17.27 to the dollar, 23.17 to the pound, 20.12 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.05 a barrel.
In Hermanstad, Pretoria, traffic sluggish on Eskiam Pahlele between Wormhagen and the R80, while in Calvin, Alex roadwork still causing heavy delays. N3 southbound between the Butlu Interchange and London Road.
In your sport, Shan Masood scores half-century as Pakistan end day one of the second test against South Africa on 259 for 5. Zachary Porthen earns maiden Springbok call-up for the outgoing tour. And Manchester United end their 9-year Anfield drought with Liverpool win.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 12 and 20 and Vereniging 9 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Basic Education Department has introduced GPS trackers on trucks that will be transporting the matric exam papers.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes past 4 on 702 Drive. The Madlanga Commission coming up in just a moment. Oren Singh keeping an eye on a very, very interesting and important day at the hearing. No opportunity to actually be in the room for members of the media, but an opportunity to listen carefully to some very important and arguably very, very worrying evidence being put forward by someone known only as Witness A. Oren with us in just a moment. Coming up a little bit later in the show, there is an anti-HIV jab. You get it every 6 months. It's called lenacapavir. That's the good news. But the price is a problem and an issue. By the way, the drug not yet registered in South Africa, although the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority, SAHPRA, is busy with that process. A decision expected by the end of this month. The burning question would be, if we only get a limited amount, who gets it and why? Do you target particular groups? Do you target specific communities? Because the goal isn't just to protect individuals, but it's to do it in an epidemiologically savvy way. In other words, with larger public health considerations in mind. Where can you make the biggest dent on not just the pandemic's present, but its future? Very interesting stuff indeed, and we have a great guest to talk about it. Mia Milan, founder and editor-in-chief at Bheki Sisa, will be with us after 5. It's 10 minutes past 4.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John and the 702 team. Okay, the perfect South African goodie bag definitely must have a little parcel of Cook Sisters, probably 4. Biltong from the northwest, anywhere in the northwest, but definitely the biltong must be from the northwest. A small tasting packet of wines, so little 300ml bottles of our finest wines from farms that are not necessarily internationally popular, but are popular to us. And I'm not sure about the other 2. Oh, beadwork from any culture that we have in South Africa, because our beadwork is so diverse across the cultural board. And then the last one, a Big 5 calendar, where you can just tear off the date part and keep the photos of the Big 5 and other wildlife and, all of that. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, that sounds like a great mix. I buy a Big 5 calendar every year, by the way, and really enjoy that. Another one from M, and the question that's being answered, by the way, is if we're putting together a pack of 5 gifts for the people, a goodie bag, that's a better word for it, for the people who are coming out here for the G20. We want to give them something that speaks of our country and ourselves and what kind of things we like and love. What would you put in your pack? Here we've got from M, Rooibos tea, biltong. Biltong's flying off the shelves. A guide to what South Africans love doing, like greeting. I think that would be a language guide then. Multi-purpose bag, G20 emblem on the one side, South African flag on the other. And this one I really like, a 2-meter cloth from any one of our different cultures. Like the cloth very much indeed. Kabazela got us started off with the mohair blanket. So cloths coming into the mix in different shapes and forms. Your ideas, please give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 13 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get the very latest news from the traffic. Kelvin, N3 South is a problem area. Karabo Chale, good afternoon.
Well, John, at this stage, yes, we still have those roadworks in the Calvin Alex area heading towards Bedford View, N3 southbound. This is causing delays between the Butlu Interchange and London Road, while in Hermanstad, Pretoria, traffic remains sluggish. This is on Eskiam Pahlele between Vomhagen and the R80. That's if you are leaving the Pretoria CBD at this stage. Coming back towards Joburg, there's still slow-moving traffic. This is approaching the intersection of Winnie Mandela Drive and the N1 in the Bryanston area due to faulty traffic lights. There's also traffic lights not working in the Randburg area at Witkoppen and Riverbend. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Participants of the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon say they had to lift each other's spirits after the event was cancelled. Race organisers called off the marathon yesterday morning after heavy winds caused havoc overnight, damaging infrastructure along the race route. Five-time Sanlam Cape Town Marathon runner Lauren Kensley says was a special experience to see hundreds of runners take to the streets despite being disappointed by the cancellation.
I must say that I was amazed by the thousands of club runners who made the best out of a bad situation.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. Catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with me, John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m., only on 702. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
The future of mobility is here, and it's powered by clean energy. Join business leaders, policymakers, and innovators at the NEV Summit 2025, taking place on 22 and 23 October. Together, we're driving Africa's green industrial revolution, building new industries, creating jobs, and positioning Gauteng as the hub of sustainable mobility. Visit evsummit2025.co.za to learn more. The NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for butcheries, restaurants, beauty salons, and more. Here's Gert.
I definitely have peace of mind that Business Outsurance is protecting our business. I do think Business Outsurance are the best insurance company out there, and they gave us the best quotes.
Switch to Business Outsurance, and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's focus our attention now on developments today at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Not quite the way things started, where Lieutenant General and Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who got us started in more ways than one, of course, with his press conference at the beginning of July, way back when, but so much has happened since. Now, what's interesting for me about all of this is today you couldn't see who was giving evidence, but you could listen in. Let's get a sense then of what happened and welcome into the studio our EWN colleague, Oren Singh. Obviously, you can't name the witness. Apart from anything else, you don't know the name of the witness. But to the extent that you can describe them, are they in the police service themselves? Give us that profile and then just set out, if you will, before we get into the details, Oren, the terms under which the session was actually held. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Well, today's hearings were partially in camera.
Okay.
Meaning that the witness was testifying from a safe house, from a remote location, undisclosed location, and as in terms of the partial part is that their voice would be broadcast, but we'd not have their face being shown.
Okay.
This member is a member of organized crime in Gauteng, a detective specifically attached and assigned to the case investigating the murder that occurred in April last year of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. And so he was part of that team that was investigating the murder of Swart. He was also part of the arrests that came following that murder, in that of police officer Michael Puletau, who's attached to Johannesburg Central,
Right.
and later Katiso Katie Molefe.
Okay, so the Armand Swart works in an engineering firm. There are issues around tenders and corruption. He was killed in a case of mistaken identity, if I got that right. But the links to the larger picture that the Commission is investigating are what exactly?
So essentially, the Armand Swart murder gave way to this Big Five syndicate, or this Big Five cartel that we've been hearing about over the past couple of days and weeks. And essentially, I think when they initially started probing the murder of Armand Swart, they didn't realize how big and how far and deep the rot would go. But they presented evidence today. Witness A presented evidence in the form of screen grabs from CCTV camera footage outside of Swart's company, Q-Tech, in Vereniging, showing the vehicles that were used in this murder, assassination, hit, whatever you want to call it, and providing the links to the people that have been arrested in that murder case, as well as that of this businessman who's since been charged with multiple murders, Katie Katiso Molefe.
So those are the connections. So we've got a sense of where this fits into some of the stuff that Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi was highlighting when he first went public with these issues. So what kind of things did he say? I've called him Witness A. I don't know if that was the term given for him. Correct me if it isn't. What kind of things did he reveal that we might not have known about before?
Well, Witness A today, John, provided a little bit more insight into the threats this team investigating the Armand Swart case received. In that on the day they arrested the accused who have been charged with the murder of Swart, including that police officer, warrant officer, Michael Taupule, that they arrested him within 2 hours of the murder. And on their first appearance at court, after the court appearance, there were a lot of police officers present at court, some from Johannesburg Police Station or Johannesburg Central, where Puletau is based. And once the investigators left the court session, they were being run off the road by people they presumed were present at the court proceedings. He didn't provide details as to the vehicle registration plates that ran them off the road and so forth. But over and above that, I think far more severe threats. They had been requested to brief the head of organized crime in the country, Major General Richard Shibiri. And they allege, or Witness A alleges, that during that briefing with Major General Shibiri, that Shibiri tells the investigators that, look, this is a very sensitive case. It's an extremely dangerous case, and you're going to face a lot of pushback from police in the province. But also goes on to say that he's heard that there are 3 envelopes, and this is something that KZN boss Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, as well as Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo, gave during their testimony, that there were 3 envelopes, one for the prosecutor, one for the investigator, and one for the magistrate, in the case of Armand Swart, to allow these people arrested with his murder to get bail. And so this is the head of organized crime telling the investigators that he's aware of this. And I think it raised some concerns for this investigating team, and they had put it allegedly to Major General Shibiri. But if you're aware that there's these 3 envelopes, where do we go from here? What do we do? And they say that Major General Shibiri suggested that an inquiry needs to be opened regarding that, but he had not opened an inquiry. So it raised some questions. They claim that, or Witness A claims that he believes there was some tampering in this investigation, and with specific regard to Warrant Officer Michael Puletau being granted bail. He was granted bail of 10,000 Rand.
So I was glancing up at the screen from time to time, obviously not following it with a with your close attention. Oren, but there seemed to be stuff being said about socializing, fraternizing between people who are suspected of serious criminal conduct on the one hand and police on the other. Did I pick that up correctly, or was that really of unimportance?
I think it is of importance, and there's a name that popped up in the commission of Vusi Ndlala. And this is a person who we haven't been provided too much details of, but someone who is not within the police. And I think that's important to note, because from this commission, we've been hearing about a lot of external influence on high-profile investigations within police. And Vusi Ndlala has a party at his home shortly after Armand Swart is murdered. He owns this massive boutique hotel in Northcliffe. And at that party, the head of organized crime is present, as well as the Gauteng Provincial Commissioner, Tommy Mtumbeni. And this witness X is invited to the party by Vusi Ndlala, and he suggests that he believes that at this party they were trying to extract information from him and the team that were investigating Armand Swart's murder.
And the man who hosted it, we don't know anything more other than he's got this hotel and he hosted a party.
Well, I think the hotel itself has come into the media space and under scrutiny some years ago. I did a quick search on the address of it, and there are some news articles that pop up about it, and some socialites that may be involved with the ownership of it. So it has been in the public domain for some time, but we don't know too much about this Vusi Ndlala character, and I think that's something that we'll have to look into a little bit more and find out a little bit more information in the coming days.
And just finally, briefly, tomorrow, what's up?
Well, so from this morning, we heard that there's 3 witnesses set to testify in the same manner in which witness A testified today, partial in-camera hearings, and that's witness A, B, and C. We concluded with witness A's testimony this afternoon at 4 p.m. He's expected to come back in the morning and I suppose wrap up his testimony, but we still have to hear from witness B and C. Interesting that witness B is the investigating officer in the Armand Swart case. So we're hoping that we're going to hear a lot more about that case and alleged interference in that matter as well.
Thank you so much. Lots to digest, but someone who's there to help and guide us, Oren Singh, our EWN colleague. Important stuff by the sound of it. Much more to come tomorrow. 25 minutes past 4.
The vault is loaded. The clock is ticking. Get ready for Swiper by Absa Rewards. Next week, 702 and Absa Rewards could make you up to 30,000 Rand richer. Plus, give you a chance at a brand new JQ J5 Vortex, plus 3 months of premium car insurance from Absa if you're an active Absa Rewards member with a valid driver's license. Want in? Send hashtag Absa Swiper Rewards to 067 384 0022 and catch Swiper by Absa Rewards on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Your story matters. Absa. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's available at primemediaplus.com.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Medical care, like music, needs continuity, a steady rhythm and pattern. Patients attended to on time. Medication taken as prescribed. Cut the rhythm, and it falls apart. Right now, global funding cuts are restricting access to healthcare. With your support, Doctors Without Borders can continue to provide medical care to communities worldwide. Because medicine, like music, only works when uninterrupted. Doctors Without Borders, we go there.
Fellow taxpayers, make tax matters a #1 priority by submitting your personal income tax return by the 20th of October 2025 deadline. Once your tax return is submitted, you'll receive a notice of assessment stipulating if there's any tax-assessed debt due to SARS or not. Should you owe, it's crucial to settle tax obligations on time to avoid any penalties or interest charges. SARS, at your service.
He's the boss, the legend, the sound of a generation. Now his story hits the big screen. And 702 is giving you the chance to win big. Play 2 truths and a lie, 3 Bruce Springsteen facts. one's not true. WhatsApp Springsteen ZA to 072 7021 702 and we could be calling you to play. Spot the Lion, win cash and a collector's vinyl package. Only on 702.
EWN Business.
Stephen Critters, a very good afternoon to you. Gold and platinum giving up some ground today. Overall, the markets, how did they look?
Yeah, they're looking all right, John. Good afternoon. Oil also down significantly, and I think that's important to know. The JSE All Share up 0.64% at 111,443 points. Financials up 1.5%. Industrials up 0.81%. And then resources down 0.12% at the moment, as you say, John. Gold and platinum both down significantly on the day. What investors will call consolidating. SAPI up nearly 6% on the day after they dropped so dramatically just a couple of weeks ago. And then some of the consumer shares doing very nicely. Woolly, Pepkor, Dis-Chem, the Fashini Group, all of them up very strongly. Woolies up nearly 5%, Pepkor up 3.11%. And then the financial shares, Investec up nearly 3%, Sanlam up 2.3%. They had their capital markets day last week, of course. And then Sasol doing quite nicely despite a lower oil price. Sasol are up nearly 2.5% on the day. The property group Growth Point, they're up 2.23%, while the Spear Real Estate Investment Trust, they confirmed their headline earnings per share were up by nearly 12% in the 6 months to the end of August. The group focuses on property only in the Western Cape, John, and particularly in Cape Town. They also bought R1 billion worth of new property in the period. They say they are positioned for future growth. Some of the platinum miners down, as you would expect. Some of the gold miners down too. Northam's down nearly 2.5%. DRD Gold down 2%. Pan African Resources down 1.84%. And then Telkom are down 2.38%. And the Premier Food Group down 1.35%. Oil prices down 2% on the day. People concerned about a global glut of oil, would you believe? Also, of course, concerns around an economic slowdown because of the trading relationship between the US and China. And then Wall Street opening higher today. They are expecting a large number of reports from some of the big major companies in the US, also awaiting inflation numbers, but still also concerns, of course, about the lack of data because the US federal government is still closed. The Dow Jones is up 0.63%. The Nasdaq is up 1.13%. The S&P 500 is up 0.82% at the moment. The gold price, $4,395 an ounce. Platinum, $1,622.91. Brent crude just above $60, John, 60.65. And then the rand to the dollar strengthening through the day, 17.25 to the euro, 20.10 to the British pound, 23.15. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
702 Drive, it is 4:30. Let's get the latest news with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Gauteng police have dismissed claims that 5 Joburg Metro Police officers were unlawfully arrested by police in Bekkersdal. Earlier today, the city's MMC for Public Safety accused police of fabricating charges against the JMPD's Tactical Response Unit and called on the Provincial Commissioner to intervene. But Gauteng top cop Tomim Tombeni says the arrests were lawful following community reports about a raid being conducted by the unit. The JMPD officers and 2 undocumented foreign nationals were detained and have since appeared in the Western Area Magistrates Court. Police spokesperson Brenda Muridili.
The Provincial Commissioner, upon engaging with the District Commissioner, is satisfied that the members have acted within the bounds of the law.
The city of Johannesburg says it is committed to clamping down on unauthorized informal trading in the inner city. The municipality has been removing traders operating illegally outside designated trading areas. The move has sparked pushback, with the Socio-Economic Rights Institute of South Africa taking the city to court over the removal of traders from their spots. Speaking at a media briefing in Braamfontein today, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero stressed that the city is not against informal trading, but rather against those who fail to follow municipal bylaws.
Therefore, the city's approach remains supportive but structured to regulate rather than to prohibit informal trading. So over the past decade, the city has implemented several key measures, including one, the adoption of informal trading policy.
In the Western Cape, a German runner has described how his disappointment after the Cape Town Marathon was cancelled led him to do a solo run on the West Coast Highway. About 24,000 marathon entrants woke up to a message from the event organisers early on Sunday morning saying the race had been cancelled. Severe winds hit the city overnight on Saturday, causing damage to infrastructure at the starting point and along the route, prompting officials to cancel the event. Carlo Peterson reports.
Dieter Barnard came all the way from Munich, Germany to run his first Cape Town Marathon. Barnard says he joined thousands of runners at Canal Walk at about 4:15 on Sunday morning to board My City buses which were to transport them to the start of the race.
We sat in the bus for a whole hour and wondered why the buses aren't leaving, and then the news came about 5:15 and nobody could believe it. Nobody could believe it in the bus and nobody wanted to get out of the bus.
Barnard says his disappointment led him to do something crazy.
I decided I want to do the marathon, and I ran all the way from Melkbosstrand to Milnerton Lagoon, and then I ran all the way back via Bloberg to Melkbosstrand, and I completed my 42.2.
Barnard says he's proud of himself for doing his first marathon, even though it was unofficial. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Japanese retailer Muji has stopped domestic online shopping services. The retailer has been dealing with a major cyber attack which began last month. The company says it is unable to receive orders online or to ship out products to corporate or individual customers. Investigations are currently ongoing to ascertain whether the attack has led to breaches of private information, including customer data. A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Lows of between 9 and 14 degrees and highs of between 20 and 24.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Protea Glen, Soweto. This is on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens. Also driving through the Joburg CBD, slow-moving traffic on the M1 southbound between Jan Smuts Avenue and the Crown Interchange. And in Hermanstad, Pretoria, traffic sluggish. Eskiam Patlele between Vormhagen and the R80.
The top story in EWN, Gauteng police have dismissed claims that 5 Joburg Metro Police officers were unlawfully arrested by the police in Bekkersdal.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. Warning that we are now, as South Africa, facing a real risk of becoming a mafia state. What do you mean by that?
Business is one of the major lines of defense. We need a coalition of willing patriots to mobilize in support of the rule of law and in support of economic growth, to provide the jobs, to get people off the streets and get people away from criminal, illegal, untaxed activities.
Colin Coleman, the former Goldman Sachs Sub-Saharan Africa CEO.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9
on 702.
Standard Bank WineX invites you to the biggest and most vibrant wine event in the Southern Hemisphere. 3 nights of wine tasting as the best of the Cape comes to Jozi. Map your own route and let wine enrich the journey. Get your tickets at Web Tickets and enjoy up to 30% off as a Standard Bank client. Live a wealthier life with Standard Bank Private and WineX. Santon Convention Centre, 29 to 31 October from 5 to 9 p.m. Enjoy responsibly. No under 18s. Visit winex.co.za.
Naked people never skip leg day. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin, they've got more time for lunges and Romanian deadlifts. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start working out. Like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
In a world shaped by those who build, disrupt, and reimagine, there comes a gathering not just of minds, but of futures. The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank, is where top entrepreneurs, innovators, and change makers converge. It's where the future of enterprise is redefined. On 5 and 6 November, you could be there. Stand a chance to win tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit on 702. WhatsApp the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number, telling us how you would benefit from attending the summit to 072-702-1702. Then catch 702 Drive with John Perlman to find out if you're a winner. The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank. Your summit, your way, on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and the team. Look, key for me that I will obviously pick for the delegate will be the calabash. You know, the calabash signaling that you know you are in South Africa, but most importantly, you don't use the glass. You please use the calabash. You are in Africa, just like when you are in Rome, you do what the Romans do. Joseph Rosling.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph. Calabash, the second time we've had it, right at the beginning of the show. Our colleague, our technical producer, Karabo Malapile, suggesting that should be part of what would go into that goodie bag for people, delegates visiting South Africa for the G20. It's 21 minutes to 5, still to come. We're going to have a chat about small business, an important new study that's coming up. Plus, we've got some music for you that's coming away after 5:30. 21 minutes to 5. Let's get the latest sport.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly Mganga, very good afternoon to you. Proteas women already through to the knockouts, but lots of work still to be done, presumably.
Absolutely, John, and they'll go in search of a 5th consecutive victory at the tournament when they clash with Pakistan tomorrow. As you said, they're through to the semis already, and coach Madlanga Commission has discussed what their approach will be in their final 2 round-robin games.
I think it's important that we try and understand how we want to play the next 2 games, because that could give us the momentum needed for us to become a force in the knockout stages. In the knockout stages, it's lottery, but if you've got the right momentum and the right confidence with you, the chances are just a little bit much higher than the rest of the teams. And we just want to make sure that we win these 2 games and, make sure that we go in with the right momentum.
At stumps on day 1 of the second test, Pakistan were 259 for 5 against South Africa. Shan Masood scored a half-century, while Keshav Maharaj and Salman Hammer took 2 wickets each. Over to England, where Sean Dyche has reportedly verbally agreed to take over as Nottingham Forest's new manager and is expected to be in charge ahead of Thursday's Europa League match against Porto. He'll replace Ange Postecoglou, who was sacked on Saturday after just 39 days in charge. His dismissal came on the back of a 3-0 loss to Chelsea in the Premier League, and Enzo Maresca admits he was surprised by that decision.
I didn't speak with Angie. I didn't see him, but I just said I feel very sorry for him. But we said many times, this is a business where if you don't win game, the consequence for all of us is exactly the same. So, sorry for him.
Graham Potter's back in management after being appointed by the Swedish national team on a short-term contract. The deal is until March next year and will be automatically extended if they qualify for the World Cup. Switching over to the United Rugby Championship, where the Stormers are still unbeaten after beating Zebre. The Lions recorded their first victory of the season following a 29-18 success of the Scarlets. The Sharks are still searching for a maiden win after suffering a 34-26 loss to Ulster, while for Johan Ackermann's Bulls, they had to dig deep to beat Connacht 28-27.
Obviously, you couldn't get it closer. Tonight, we could have lost it. You had the kick to win it, so one is grateful for the victory. But I felt we did a lot of good things, and we probably don't feel too guilty about the victory, because I felt we really, were in control of the game until that last moment when the ball was kicked, but it swung inside and they scored a good try. So we'll take the win. Again, there was a lot of mistakes, but the most pleasing thing is the character.
And South Africa stamped its authority on the continent as both the men's and women's national hockey teams struck gold at the Africa Cup of Nations. Both teams won their 8th continental titles after the men beat Egypt 5-1, while the women claimed a 4-0 victory over Ghana. They both qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's get the latest from out on the roads. Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. If you're heading in the direction of Protea Glen, expect some delays. Let's find out how long and why. Here's Karabo Chale.
Well, I guess it's just peak hour traffic at this stage, John. No clear indication of what's causing this bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Protea Glen area on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens, while in the Joburg CBD, there's also slow-moving traffic. This is on the M1 southbound between the Jan Smuts Avenue off-ramp and the Crown Interchange. Calvin, Alex heading towards Germiston Roadwork, still causing heavy delays. N3 southbound between the Baklu Interchange and London Road, while in Boksburg heading towards Brakpan Roadworks causing delays. N17 eastbound approaching Rondebold Road, and in Hermanstad, Pretoria, leaving the CBD, traffic sluggish on Eskiam Patlele between Vormhagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a family driving to their new home, carrying boxes stacked with plates and toys and memories. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a new beginning, a fresh start on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Celebrate the legend and score like a rock star. It's time to win big with Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, and 702.
Yeah, we're doing this again this week because he is still the boss, still the legend, and the man whose music defined generations. Now Bruce Springsteen's story comes alive on the big screen with Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, in cinemas from 24 October. And 702 once again is giving you the chance to win big. We're celebrating the icon with what we call 2 truths and a lie. 3 facts about Bruce. One of them, however, is not quite true. Probably not a fact then, is it? But you know what I mean. WhatsApp the keyword Springsteen ZA to 072 702 1702 and we could be calling you to play. Spot the lie and you could win 2,000 Rand cash and a chance to go into the draw to score a Bruce Springsteen Nebraska 82 Expanded Edition LP box set that every fan would envy. A great deal, only on 702. Experience Deliver Me From Nowhere, a powerful cinematic journey into Bruce Springsteen's raw and emotional search for authenticity, connection and meaning. Inspired by the creation of his iconic Nebraska album, this film dives deep into the man behind the music, his struggles, his soul, and the sound that defined generations. Only in cinemas from 24 October. So, let's bring to the air right here on 702 Drive, Arnold, who's on the line from Montana in Pretoria. Arnold, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon then, Dr. John.
So we're going to play something we call 2 truths and a lie. I'm going to read you 3 facts. Listen to all 3, Arnold. And then once I've done that, you must tell me which one is a lie. If you get it correct, well, there's some cool prizes on the way to you. So here are the 3 facts. Bruce Springsteen once released an album entirely recorded in his home studio. He turned down an invitation to perform at Woodstock. And fact number 3, he's afraid of flying and only tours by bus. Which one do you think is a lie?
I think number 3 is a lie.
He's afraid of flying and only tours by bus. Indeed, it is a lie. Otherwise, how would he have got to Joburg to perform a concert here and all the many other places where he has delighted and enthralled audiences around the world? So, very, very well done to you, Arnold. You have won yourself 2,000 Rand. And you go into the draw. We'll do it on Friday to win that collector's package of fabulous Bruce Springsteen vinyl. So well done. You've won that 2,000 Rand. You've got a chance to win the box set. And all of this is thanks to Disney on 702. Tune in again tomorrow for another chance to win on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
13 minutes now to 5. We do this every Monday. The B20 in brief. It's brought to you by Standard Bank, where Africa's voice meets the world's stage. Now, South Africa's township economy is one of the country's most dynamic yet underrepresented sectors. As South Africa leads the G20 in 2025, inclusive growth and job creation are central to both the G20 and the B20 agendas. To explore this vital sector, Standard Bank has launched its inaugural Township Informal Economy Report, offering fresh insights into the realities, challenges, and opportunities facing township businesses. Joining us to unpack these findings and their relevance to inclusive economic development under the G20 B20 framework is Naledzani Musumane, as Head of Enterprise and Supplier Development for Business and Commercial Banking at the Standard Bank Group. Naledzani Musumane, welcome to 702 Drive. It's great to have you with us on the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to the listeners.
So we've chatted before about the real specifics of what this particular study shows about the South African township economy and the possibilities of more inclusive growth and greater job creation flowing out of that. But I'm interested to ask you, I mean, this is all taking place as you're having a much wider global conversation. What is what you're finding in the report contributing to the conversations that you're having with people from other countries?
Thanks, John. So I think a lot of what we're seeing in the report really touches on how do we create access to finance for SMEs, access to business development support for SMEs, and access to markets for SMEs. We know that across the continent, SMEs are job creators, and therefore it's important to make sure that we can capacitate and create and support businesses that are going to be able to create jobs.
A lot of the conversations are around business systems and, you know, in terms of how you can draw people into new systems of generating and sharing finance. And yet so many of the businesses, according to your report, are actually cash-based. There's a gap to bridge. Where do you think we should start?
You are right. A lot of the businesses that we spoke to in this report are cash-based businesses. However, they do want to be digital. They are looking for affordable digital tools for their business. They want to understand how to use the digital. And I think a lot of the challenges that they're seeing is because they don't have the information in terms of what is the right type of digital solution for me? How do I use it in my business? And how will it ultimately improve the sustainability of my business? And therefore, I really think it's important that we consider, you know, how do we close that digital gap for SMEs? How do we give more information to SMEs to understand the benefits? How do we work with maybe some of your better tech partners to work with these SMEs to understand what are the benefits for their business in terms of adopting digital solutions?
I mean, you ultimately are hoping, as with all the other B20 ideas, Ms. Musumane, that they'll filter upwards and become part of the larger conversations at the G20. I mean, how do governments and indeed the global banks, multilateral organizations, and others who are in as part of the conversation around the B20, what contribution can they make, or should we say, hey, this is a South African problem, we've got to fix it?
I don't think it's a South African problem. I think, you know, these conversations really start shaping how we put policy together. They also start shaping how we collaborate together across multiple sectors, right? And also start shaping how we have become very clear in terms of what are the KPIs that we're driving, you know, as we put out the different agenda items in terms of inclusion, in terms of transformation. How do we make sure there's adequate accountability? How do we shape the public-private partnerships? And how do we, you know, work with DFIs, bigger guarantors to create funding solutions to help de-risk some of the challenges that we see from a corporate perspective when we start wanting to give these SMEs access to funding. So to de-risk our traditional financial solutions.
And I suppose finally, I mean, in terms of the conversations that you are engaging in at the level of the B20, Ms. Musumane, obviously you're developing and generating ideas that you would ultimately hope filter their way back not only into the conversations but circumstances around the people, the businesses you engage with in the Township Informal Economy Report. How does stuff filter back down? Because the information's going up. How do the benefits move the other way?
So I think what helps is, in these conversations, you have corporate leaders who are participating and who are very clear in terms of what they're trying to drive, right? So having the right individuals in these conversations is important. For us as a bank, when we start thinking about being in these forums, there is a focus that says, how do we work together to create opportunities for SMEs? How do we work together to close the funding gap for SMEs? And how do we work together to create adequate support structures for SMEs? So having the right people at a top leadership perspective, in our case, our CEO is the co-chair of the B20 Infrastructure and Finance Task Force, and he is very clear in terms of what we're trying to drive overall when we start talking about driving Africa's growth and the sustainability of businesses that operate across the continent. And that filters through as we have our conversations within the business to start building and shaping the right solutions to make sure that these businesses remain sustainable and hopefully scalable.
Thank you so much. Naledzani Musumane, Head of Enterprise and Supplier Development for Business and Commercial Banking at the Standard Bank Group. The B20 in brief is brought to you by Standard Bank, where Africa's voice meets the world stage. At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
How much buy-in is there from the ANC on this, and have you had a discussion with them about it?
This is the initial announcement of the bill itself. It is still going to be introduced through a first reading debate into Parliament. We understand we're in coalition agreement with the ANC and national government, but that doesn't mean we need to agree with them all the time. Fundamentally, we are here to represent the interests of voters, and we need to make sure that we call for the policy changes that are required in order to create an inclusive South Africa.
Matt Cuthbert.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
At Premier Hotels and Resorts, business travelers staying alone enjoy a complimentary drink every night of their stay. So, whatever your tipple. It's on the house at any of our 24 hotels and resorts nationwide. Book today at premierhotels.co.za.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. I'm wondering if you've ever got for yourself letters that are clearly, or communication. It doesn't have to be an email. It could be a WhatsApp. It could be communication of absolutely any kind. But I got this from LinkedIn, and what it gave me was a list of jobs that they thought I would be very, very suitable for. One of them, that I ought to consider working in sales at a motorbike shop. Now, given the fact that I've never owned a motorbike, never ridden a motorbike, never Googled, because I know sometimes what we do online does lead to people forming conclusions about what our interests might be. I have never shown any interest in motorbikes whatsoever. Anyway, they seem to think that I could do well, then I ought to apply. The other one was as puzzling, although I have been known to get on aeroplanes from time to time and go flying somewhere. But this proposed that I apply for let me read it. Johannesburg, cabin crew opportunities at Emirates Airlines. I would be based in Dubai should I be successful, but nothing to worry about. Relocation would be provided. I'm just very, very puzzled by this, and not for the first time. I have to say, I have from time to time got correspondence where people seem to think I would be interested in something where it's just absolutely, completely off the mark. So I'm very keen to know from you, by the way, whether you can, you've ever received anything quite similar to that, where people have drawn conclusions about what your interests might be. I bet there's a couple of stories there that we'd enjoy hearing about. Get hold of us on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Still to come on the show, we're going to be taking a closer look at decisions the country may have to make, possibly by February next year, but well in advance of that, about a new drug. It's called lenacapavir. It is an anti-HIV vaccination, a jab, that you get every 6 months. Now, it's at the moment very, very expensive. Obviously, as these things become available as generics, different opportunities might become possible, and indeed government-to-government negotiations might produce some cheaper versions. But the decision we're going to have to make is with whatever supply we get of the drug, the approval of which, by the way, is not through yet, but a decision expected by the end of October. The decisions we make could be vitally important, because you would want, I would have thought, that drug to be used in a way that not only benefits individuals, but benefits our goals of trying to reduce the amount of HIV/AIDS out there. So strategic choices, and fascinating ones, by the way. I know very little about epidemiology and related subjects, but after 5, we have a guest who's looked very closely at this, Mia Malan, joining us from the health website, Becky Sisa. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The ANC and the marketing company it owes reach another settlement, and are Cape Town Taxi Association tensions rising again? Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The ANC has withdrawn its application seeking to unfreeze its bank accounts that were attached over its 85 million rand debt to Ezuleni Investments. The two parties have reached yet another out-of-court settlement. The ANC owes the marketing company for the printing of election posters and other material ahead of the 2019 general elections. Earlier this month, Ezuleni was granted an attachment order on the party's bank account, in addition to the court sheriff seizing the ANC's goods and furniture at its Lutuli House headquarters to repay the debt. Tabiso Koba reports.
Attorney for Ezuleni Investment, Shafiq Sali, has told Eyewitness News the settlement agreement between the company and the ANC is confidential. This is the second out-of-court agreement between the two parties following the debt settlement agreement in 2023. Part of the debt agreement was the ANC giving Ezuleni extra work for last year's general elections. However, the ANC defaulted on its payments, leading to Ezuleni taking the step of attaching its movable assets and bank accounts. The ANC filed an application to overturn the freezing of its bank accounts, saying this posed an existential crisis for the organization as it was not able to pay its employees from across the country. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Let's move to the Western Cape now, where Cape Town Taxi Association Cordetta has distanced itself from a shooting that claimed the life of a taxi owner from rival association Carter today. The taxi boss was shot and killed on the R300 highway while traveling with his security detail. Both his bodyguards were injured in the attack and rushed to hospital. Cordetta spokesperson Makosandile Tumana says they're shocked and saddened by the latest shooting.
We as Cordetta region condemned what happened in the early hours of today. The killing of the member of Kata region is unacceptable, and we don't want to see this kind of incident in our industry.
The latest violence comes just hours after routes between Mfuleni and Khayelitsha to Somerset West were reopened. They had been closed for 30 days due to violence between rival associations Kata and Kodeta. Tumana says the incident has nothing to do with a dispute over routes in that region.
And we also want to appeal to our media house not to associate this form of practice with what happened in Strand Somerset and Khayelitsha Somerset route. The reopening of those routes are still operating with peace and harmony, and we want to maintain that standard.
The Basic Education Department has introduced GPS trackers on trucks transporting matric exam papers. Minister Sivue Gwahube shared this during a media briefing in Mpumalanga today. She says the trucks will undergo grueling checks at each stage of distribution to avoid the costly mishaps on exam paper leaks that have been seen in the previous years. Jabuli Limbata reports.
This year has recorded the highest number of candidates registered to write the public matric exams, totaling over 900,000 learners. The confirmed number of exam centres are 6,955, with 500 of those being independent schools. Basic Education Minister Sivue Gwahube says the exams are the largest public assessment in the education system, adding that outside of elections, there is no larger event needing logistical coordination. She says they have prepared all year to mitigate risks attached to the papers.
Integrity is not a negotiable. It is the cornerstone of the NSC certificates and, of course, the public trust in our education system. This year, we have 6,376 public schools and 579 independent schools that will serve as official examination centers, a total of 6,955 nationwide.
She added that there are almost 200 marking centers with more than 40,000 markers, invigilators and data capturers ready to support the exams. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News, Mpumalanga.
Emergency teams that have been working and searching for a missing man believed to have drowned in the Westdene Dam say the body is likely to only float to the surface later in the week. The crews have aborted their search efforts for today and will only resume operations on Wednesday. 25-year-old Phumlani Gladile was reported missing by his family at the weekend. Search and recovery efforts intensified today after his family positively identified a bag with his belongings that was found near the dam yesterday. Tanduluhle Ngcobo was there.
After multiple water divers, a canine sniffer dog and a search and rescue boat combed through parts of the dam in search of missing 25-year-old Phumlani Gadlile, operations were concluded with no signs of a body. Police believe they will have better luck in their search later in the week when the body begins to float to surface. The heavy rainfall over the past few days has filled the dam with water, also compounding to difficult search and rescue efforts. However, the family says it has not lost any hope in finding their loved one, his cousin Aphiwe Mvubu.
So we're hoping for the best. We are hoping that he's not in here. Maybe he went out.
They are pleading with anyone who may have seen him to report what they know to the police. Tanduluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
And an investigation is underway after a cargo plane from Dubai skidded off the runway in Hong Kong on landing. 2 airport security staff members died during the incident. It's understood the plane collided with their security patrol vehicle and pushed it into the sea. Authorities are investigating the cause of the crash, with weather, runway conditions and aircraft and crew part of that probe. Gold is trading at $4,319.66 an ounce. The rand is at 17.27 to the dollar, 23.17 to the pound, 20.12 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.05 a barrel.
Roodepoort, Bosmont area, there's also an accident seen on the N1 northbound before Albertina Sisulu, causing about a 30-minute delay while in Proteas Lane bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the R559 opposite GOG Gardens, and if you're traveling towards Brakpan, roadwork still causing heavy delays in Boksburg. This is on the N17 eastbound approaching Rondebolt.
In your sport, the Proteas women taking it a game at a time despite progression to World Cup semi-finals. Arne Slot seeking solutions as Liverpool crisis deepens. And Royston Drenthe admitted to hospital after a brain stroke.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated afternoon showers and thundershowers. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 12 and 20, and Vereeniging 9 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The ANC has withdrawn its application seeking to unfreeze its bank accounts that were attached over its 85 million rand debt to Ezulweni Investments.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Great to have you with us on this kind of grey and a little bit gloomy Monday. But anyway, we need rain and these kinds of days pass through, I hope. I don't know what the rest of the week looks like, but I know there's more rain expected today. That's why our traffic reports, the next one coming up shortly, are particularly important. We'll keep you posted on where the problems are. But yeah, stay safe, drive safe, and stay dry if you possibly can. I always find if I have an umbrella, it never rains. It generally rains when I don't have one, to which one might say, well, just keep an umbrella all the time, and you don't have to be superstitious about these things. Coming up on the show in a moment, we are, as I mentioned earlier, going to be talking about the possibility of a large number of South Africans getting every 6 months an anti-HIV vaccination. Details of that in a moment, and the implications of it as well, with Mia Milan from the website Beggy Sisa. But just a couple of things before we get into that. First of all, to all of our Hindu listeners, we as 702 and particularly the Afternoon Drive team would like to wish you a very happy Diwali. May this festival of lights bring you prosperity, health and good fortune. And in a different vein, but with as much positivity, we'd also like to wish families and the people writing matric. The exams start tomorrow. All the very, very best. And, many of our listeners, I would suspect most of them, have matric exams behind them. If you've got a great tip for either family members of people who are writing or the matriculants themselves, do me a favor. Just if you've got some great ideas on how to deal with the pressure, how to study, how to pace yourself, etc., stress management, all of these things go into the success of a matric candidate and not just what they've managed to study and cram. If you've got any great ideas, please send them as well to 072 702 1702. It's 10 minutes past 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Okay, so John, I'm in the film industry and I'm a DOP. So I went online and I applied for camera work and all that kind of stuff. And all I ever get is security camera operators returning to me every single day.
John, Jerem from East London, you've just got to laugh at the absolute audacity of the ANC. This whole story with their bank accounts being frozen by the media company who they owe money to. The argument of it's created an existential crisis which prevents them from being able to pay their employees. Well, what about the media company's employees? Don't they have the same argument? Because they haven't got paid, they can't pay their people. Surely the total audacity and hypocrisy is just wild.
Keep those coming on 072 702 1702. Yeah, the ANC's financial crisis seems to have gone on for absolute ages. I thought some settlement had been reached in regard to this media work that was done, but possibly this is another round of more or less the same thing. I need to read up a little more closely on that. 12 minutes past 5. Let's get you home.
EWN Traffic.
Unless, of course, you're not going home and maybe you're going somewhere else. But you know what I mean. Let's get you to your destination. Let's be more precise there. Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142. Do it now and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Protea Glen's been a problem area, difficult day generally on the roads. Karabo Chale has everything you need to know.
Yeah, Protea Glen, if you're on that route, R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. What's happening there? Why is there so much delays this afternoon? Let us know. You can WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. In Rudeport, Bosmont area, heading towards the Four Ways area, there's also an accident scene, N1 northbound, before Albertina Sisulu, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from the Soweto Highway. In the Joburg CBD, traveling towards Boysens, slow-moving traffic on the M1 southbound from Jan Smuts Avenue all the way to the Crown Interchange, while in Calvin Alex area, roadwork still causing heavy delays this afternoon on the N3 southbound between the Butlu Interchange and London Road. Boksburg heading towards Brakpan, also roadworks causing heavy delays on the N17 eastbound approaching Rondebold Road. And in Hermanstad, Pretoria, leaving the CBD, traffic is a bit sluggish on Eskiam Patlele between Vormhagen and the R80. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5:30.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 89. Your dog decided to play hide and seek with your car keys. Nice try. Fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsmen, easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Two civic organizations who are calling for a protest to the union buildings happening in Pretoria. Enough is enough, and Stand Up SA.
Africa, we are right there in the middle, and we are the ones who got all the permits for this march. It's a legal march. It's a non-partisan march.
Here's a voice note.
I don't understand people who says they fear Mbalula and Mashatile's presidency, talking about the evils of the ANC in terms of fraud and corruption, stealing from the public and buying Lamborghinis and Ferraris.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Celebrate the diverse musical expressions that connect us across borders, languages, and cultures, honoring ancestral sounds that have echoed across the continent for generations. Do it at the Nyrox Sculpture Park in the Cradle of Humankind on Sunday, the 2nd of November. Good Neighbours is a dynamic gathering of African artists, both emerging and established, exploring indigenous instruments, layered harmonies, rhythms, and innovative interpretations of traditional sounds. Featuring Amadodana Asiwesile, Zawadi Yamungu, and Silent Ngo, among others, as well as MC Loyiso Gola. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. Nyrox is a private not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Feel the rhythm of summer at the Old Mutual Music in the Gardens, featuring Mikasa and Jazeel Brothers, live on Saturday, 25 October at the Walter Sisulu Botanical Garden. Experience soulful sounds, sunshine, and good vibes in one of Joburg's most beautiful settings. Get your tickets now at webtickets.co.za. Proudly presented by Old Mutual, 702 and Breakout Events.
Zinzi, the Gen Z. Word on the street is you sold your car.
Yes, and you know I needed a glow up. Hashtag no hustle, no hassle.
So wait. The influencer got influenced by We Buy Cars.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And they came to me. They checked the car, they gave me an offer. Oh, and they paid me immediately. Easier than an Insta Live, without the weird DMs at 2 a.m.
I didn't understand half of the things you just said, but hey, We Buy Cars. Geared for the glow up, geared for you.
Josie is about to bring the heat. The Discovery Vitality Chicken Run, flavoured by Nando's, is happening Saturday, 8 November at 5 p.m. Go 5K or 10K, run, walk, or just soak up that Jersey summer air. Not tough enough? Well, if you've ever sprinted for a taxi, dodged potholes, or climbed stairs when the power was out, well, your training has already begun. So grab your crew, lace up, and move Jersey forward. Find the Discovery Vitality Chicken Run on racepass.com to enter. The Discovery Vitality Chicken Run, flavoured by Nando's. It's a run for everyone.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So some advice coming in for people about to write matric. Tsecho Fatsel says, do not procrastinate. Be proactive. Slow, steady, and continuous study wins the race. Thanks for that. Keep the advice coming, please, both for parents and older people who are working with matriculants and for the students themselves. 072 702 1702. It's 18 past 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
South Africa has dealt with HIV/AIDS over many, many decades now. There have certainly been some severe challenges in recent months, with the United States cutting off access to certain kinds of support. But there are some decisions to make. Should the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority register for use in South Africa a medication called lenacapavir? What this medication involves is every 6 months, in other words, twice a year, an anti-HIV jab. Now, we could be in a position to roll this out as early as February. The big question we are facing as a country is who gets it? And it could refer to categories of individuals by gender or age or demographic in some way. It could also involve geographical choices. It's an important debate, and it raises many interesting questions about how the rollout of this medication would not just benefit individuals, but could move us to a point where the incidence of HIV/AIDS in our country is diminished, and substantially so. Well, somebody who's been taking a very close and careful look at this is my next guest. Mia Malan is founder and editor-in-chief of the website dealing with health matters and the politics around it. It's called Bhekisisa, and if you haven't been there, I strongly recommend you go and take a look. Mia Malan, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. What are some of the considerations that are being weighed up? I mentioned, obviously, personal benefit, but if we're thinking public health, big ideas, what are some of the considerations that you've heard people weighing up? Good afternoon.
Yes, John, thanks very much for having me. So this injection, as you mentioned, its name is lenacapavir. In short, scientists call it Len.
Okay.
So ideally, you would want to give Len to anyone who wants it in the country. There are modeling studies that show if we give it between 1 and 2 million HIV negative people each year, we could end AIDS in South Africa within 14 to 18 years. But right now, we don't have nearly enough of that. The doses that we will get, it will be donated by the Global Fund and will likely arrive before the end of the year in the country. And if we start rolling those out in February, we only have enough doses to cover about 450,000 people. So if we have so few doses, it becomes very important to say, which groups of people should we give those doses to have the highest impact? And highest impact means to avert the most new infections, because that's what we want to do. Now, if you look at who should get it, scientists say you should look at groups who have the highest chance of getting HIV.
Right.
So in other words, groups that have high rates of new infections. And that is the issue that we need to look at. Which are the groups that are the most cost effective to give them to if we have so few doses, and which groups would result in averting the most new infections?
Would any part of that conversation, Mia, be about the geography? I know that we have HIV/AIDS everywhere in South Africa, but I've no idea whether the impact is relatively even or whether we have some communities that have been hit harder by HIV/AIDS. And if that is the case, do they become stronger candidates by virtue of geography and not necessarily anything else?
Well, that's a good point that you make. There are two things to take into consideration. As you mentioned, geography, HIV is not equal in our country. All districts don't have the same HIV infection rates. So our health department at this stage of their plan, they're looking at 6 provinces and they're looking at 22 health districts. We've got 52 health districts in total. So, roughly half of them. And it is the districts with the highest HIV infection rates. But there's another aspect to that. That is groups of people. And if we look at which group in South Africa gets the most new infections in this country, it's women between 15 and 24. So teen girls and young women. So one group would argue, why don't we just give them all the doses that we have right now, because they're so vulnerable to infections. But there is science and modeling studies that have been done that shows that would not be the biggest bang for our buck. And the reason is because cost plays a role. Because teen girls and young women hang out in many places. You have to go and find them in high schools, in TVET colleges, in universities, at their workplaces, at nightclubs. So it would be hard to find all of them and to also monitor all of them, whether they come back for new doses. There's another group of people that actually have a higher new infection rate than teen girls and young women, but it's a much smaller group, and that is pregnant and breastfeeding women.
Right.
And what makes them more economical to target is that they all come to 2 places. They come to pregnancy clinics throughout their pregnancy, and they come to baby vaccination clinics. So it's easy to find them and it's easy to monitor them. So scientists and modelers, specifically from WITS, from the Euro project, have found that if we give 60% or more of our doses to pregnant and breastfeeding women, we would avert the most new infections. And also then some of it to sex workers and gay and bisexual men. Right now, our health department plan hasn't followed that. It actually is giving almost half of the doses, and it's currently to teen girls, the general population, and young women. And many scientists argue that's not the best way to work with the few doses that we'll have initially.
So just a final question, and if you can sum it up, Mia. We're assuming that there would be wider benefits if we could reduce HIV/AIDS infections. I mean, if one were to just look at what we spend currently on antiretrovirals, is part of the thinking that if we can do this and do it well, a lot of that money that is currently being spent on that kind of therapy for people who are already infected could be repurposed and either used to buy more lenacapavir, or it could indeed be put into so many of our other health needs that are screaming for attention?
Yes and no. So obviously we can't stop treating the people who already have HIV. So we need to continue to treat them. And we know that there's also a preventive benefit in that. But where you have a very good point is if we prevent more people from getting HIV, so if we bring down the number of people, the rate at which people acquire HIV, then we will obviously not have to spend the amounts of money that we currently spend on, over time, of course, on antiretroviral treatment, and we will be able to buy more doses to prevent people from getting HIV. These doses will get cheaper. At the moment, there's only the original drug available because we don't have generics yet. But from 2027, generics will become available. And our health department, I must say, is committed to using our domestic budget to, when generics come to the market, to increase the number of doses that we have. And then we will be able to give many more people and many more groups this preventive injection.
Thank you very much. Mia Malan joining us from Bheki Sisa with some very, very interesting debates and arguments. Maybe you've got a thought on that. Please give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 26 minutes past 5.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
Can we get into the part where consent or the lack thereof is not blatant, as in a person did not necessarily say no, but we know and understand what the cues are?
When we're talking about body language, that can be subjective, and that's where confusion can come in, which is why it's always emphasized that if it is not an enthusiastic verbal yes, that yes, I'm here with you and I'm in this with you, you take it as a no. So if we go back to the tea method or the tea analogy that Malmoon uses, if they say yes, great, make the cup of tea, enjoy the cup of tea, enjoy the chat. Remember the euphemism behind it. If they say no, don't push it.
Chugini Pakri.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
KwaZulu-Natal is South Africa's fastest growing business tourism hub, and the numbers prove it. Since 2020, business events have injected 1.8 billion rand into the province, driving inclusive growth across the tourism value chain. This Wednesday, 702 is in conversation with KZN Tourism and Film. Find out how KwaZulu-Natal is building Africa's global gateway for business. Don't miss 702 in conversation with KZN Tourism and Film this Wednesday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman.
The future of mobility is here, and it's powered by clean energy. Join business leaders, policymakers, and innovators at the NEV Summit 2025, taking place on 22 and 23 October. Together, we're driving Africa's green industrial revolution, building new industries, creating jobs, and positioning Gauteng as the hub of sustainable mobility. Visit evsummit2025.co.za to learn more. The NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.47% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now feel the earn. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, visit nedbank.co.za.
Coming up, who will be the next winner of 5 tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit at the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November? Send a WhatsApp to 072 702 1702, telling us how you would benefit from attending. Make sure to include the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number. Stay tuned to find out on 702.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. What's happening on the markets, please?
Good afternoon to you, John. Well, the JSE All Share ending the day up 0.5% at 111,326 points. Not a lot of news flow on the day. Oil prices are weaker. The currency strengthening slightly against the dollar. Also, of course, the US still just waiting for their US federal government to reopen. Financials up 1.43%. Industrials up nearly 0.2%. And resources down 0.27%. Weaker gold and platinum prices. Nothing too dramatic. Sappi up 5%. No huge news flow about them, but we are expecting some announcements. Woolies up 3.77%. And some of the other consumer shares doing quite nicely. So Pepkor up 2 2/3%. Dis-Chem and ShopRite all up by over 2% as well. And then the financial shares, John. First Rand, Capitec, Sanlam, and Investec all up very strongly on the day. Investec up 2.5% on the day, in fact. Northern Platinum down 2.57% and Telkom down 2.64% as well. In fact, MTN, the other consumer, one of the other communications group, down nearly 1.5%. The Spear Real Estate Investment Trust, they're confirming their headline earnings per share up nearly 12% in the 6 months to the end of August. They only invest in Cape Town. They've actually bought just over R1 billion worth of new property there. And then in the US, and then in international markets, oil prices down 2% so far today. Concerns that there's too much oil, there's a global glut. Also, the fact that the US and China seem to be entering another trade war, having a bit of an impact too. At the same time, in the US, there's quite a few corporate earnings coming through, and all of that helping to push up shares for the moment. The Dow Jones is up 0.77%. The Nasdaq is up 1.4%. The S&P 500 is up 1.01% on the day so far. The gold price lower, $4,338.73. Brent crude is $1,625.40. The rand to the dollar, 17.23 to the euro, 20.07 to the British pound, 23.13. On the Money Show tonight, John, you spoke to air traffic navigation systems. We'll take that conversation forward. Just look at the economic cost. Certainly, it seems to me, I don't know if you agree, but the kind of very slow response to all of this and the sort of, it seems, lack of accountability at ATNS. We'll talk about that too. This is all costing people money, huge amounts of it. We'll talk about that tonight. We will also talk to the co-founder of the managing director now of Planet Fitness, Mani de Wet. He was part of their first opening in 1995. They now have a huge number of gyms in different places. We'll talk about the gym industry. We'll do some push-ups first on The Money Show. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. News time now with Mbali Dlamini. It's 28 minutes to 6.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Gauteng police have dismissed claims that 5 Joburg Metro Police officers were unlawfully arrested by the police in Bekkersdal. Earlier today, the city's MMC for Public Safety accused police of fabricating charges against the JMPD's Tactical Response Unit and called on the Provincial Police Commissioner to intervene. But Gauteng's top cop, Tumi Mtombeni, says the arrests were lawful following community reports about a raid being conducted by the unit. These JMPD officers and 2 undocumented foreign nationals were detained and have since appeared in the Western Area Magistrates Court. Provincial Police spokesperson Brenda Morididi.
The Provincial Commissioner, upon engaging with the District Commissioner, is satisfied that the members have acted within the bounds of the law.
The city of Johannesburg is urging all informal traders across the metro to apply for permits that will allow them to operate in designated trading areas. The initiative is part of the city's new program to better regulate the sector amid growing concerns that informal trading has contributed to the filthy state of the CBD. Traders who have been operating in undesignated areas have recently been removed, a move that has sparked significant backlash. Speaking at a media briefing today, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero announced the rollout of the informal traders registration process.
The city's efforts in De Villiers Street or De Villiers Precinct are designed to restore order and safety whilst promoting a regulated and inclusive informal trading environment. Invitation of new applicants based on available space and policy provision.
And the DA has filed an ethics complaint against Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe for allegedly misleading Parliament. Tolashe appeared before the Portfolio Committee earlier this month to explain a number of employment matters, including that of the department's Director General Peter Nechipale, who appeared alongside her. But Nechipale is now facing disciplinary action, prompting the DA's Alexandra Abrahams to believe that Tolashe's responses were contradictory and should be probed by Parliament's Ethics Committee. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
During her last appearance before Parliament, Minister Sisisi Tolashe explained that previous written information provided to Parliament about the employment contract of the Director General, Peter Nechipale, was an inadvertent and clerical error, and that Cabinet only approved his appointment for a year and not 5 years. Since then, disciplinary steps have been taken against Nechipale, who is facing 3 charges, including possible dishonesty for signing a 5-year contract. But DA spokesperson for Social Development, Alexandra Abrams, believes it's Tolashe who has been dishonest, providing conflicting information to Parliament since the party began probing whether Nechipale's appointment has been irregular.
The minister has violated the Code of Ethical Conduct and is not fit to hold a position and should be removed.
Abrams has also written to the chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee to insist that Tolashe once again appears before it to explain why the disciplinary action taken against Nechipale appears to contradict the explanation given to the committee. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated afternoon showers and thunder showers, lows of between 9 and 14 degrees and highs of between 20 and 24.
In Roodepoort, Bosmont area, we still have that accident scene, N1 northbound before Albertina Sisulu, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from the Soweto Highway. In Ekurhuleni, Boksburg, roadwork still causing huge delays heading towards Brakpan, N17 eastbound approaching Rondebold Road. And in Benoni, also expect some delays on Atlas Road approaching the N12.
A top story in EWN. Gauteng police have dismissed claims that 5 Joburg Metro Police officers were unlawfully arrested by the police in Bekkersdal.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
Can we get into the part where consent or the lack thereof is not blatant, as in a person did not necessarily say no, but we know and understand what the cues are?
When we're talking about body language, that can be subjective, and that's where confusion can come in, which is why it's always emphasized that if it is not an enthusiastic verbal yes, that yes, I'm here with you and I'm in this with you, you take it as a no. So if we go back to the tea method or the tea analogy that Malmoon uses, if they say yes, great, make the cup of tea, enjoy the cup of tea, enjoy the chat. Remember the euphemism behind it. If they say no, don't push it.
Chugini Pakari.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Pick and Pay. Their group CEO, Sean Summers, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoors. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the King of Power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
We're gonna make insurance great again. We're gonna build a wall around high premiums. A big wall. The best wall. And guess what? You're not paying for it. We're gonna grab poor service by the policy. It's gonna be tremendous. Believe me.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
Coming up, who will be the next winner of 5 tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit at the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November? Send a WhatsApp to 072 702 1702 telling us how you would benefit from attending. Make sure to include the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number. Stay tuned to find out on 702.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele Mganga, very good afternoon to you. Cricket, there's football that everyone's talking about from the weekend, and some rather dramatic races taking shape in the Grand Prix. All of that and more. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And the Proteas women return to World Cup action tomorrow as they take on Pakistan in their penultimate round-robin game. But advancing to the last 4 over the weekend, they continued a record run, which saw them become the first South African team in any sport to reach the semi-finals at 5 successive World Cups. It's even more impressive for Mandla Mashimbi's side, as they had opened their campaign with a 10-wicket defeat to England.
I think, you got to give credit to the girls. I think they recognize the moment, they recognize their responsibilities, and they just, the fact that we have different people putting their hand up, it just shows what type of team we are. So yeah, looking forward to that. But what's important for us now is obviously our game tomorrow against Pakistan.
Miguel Cardoso insists the CAF Champions League tie against Remo Stars is not over, despite a 5-1 win in the first leg of their second-round preliminary clash. That result has put them in prime position to advance to the group stages as they look to repeat last year's run to the final.
We don't give this as finished. We have to have the same approach on the second match. That's how champions are produced, by the commitment with themselves, by the commitment and respect by everybody. And look, we came here with a big respect. We came 3 days before the match because we knew that we needed to rest. We need to rest our players. Despite they had a wonderful story written this season regarding the qualification for the World Cup with the Bafana, they understood the commitment they had to have with Mamelodi Sundowns.
Liverpool manager Arne Slot doesn't believe that the Premier League champions are in crisis despite suffering a fourth straight defeat. The Reds lost 2-1 to Manchester United as their rivals won at Anfield for the first time since January 2016. They've now lost 4 consecutive games in all competitions for the first time since November 2014. That's when Brendan Rodgers was manager.
Do we lose confidence? I cannot see it yet, because every single game we've lost, we were able to create in the second half an unbelievable amount of chances. So if you look back at all the 3 games we've lost in the Premier League, I don't think if you just put all the highlights behind each other, you would say it's hardly possible that they lose this game. Then there's every reason to expect that we start to win football games again.
FC De Rebellion have announced that former Real Madrid winger Royston Drenthe has been admitted to hospital after a brain stroke. The 38-year-old Drenthe suffered the stroke on Friday, and the group insists he's recovering and receiving good care. And in Formula 1, Red Bull have been fined 50,000 euros after a team member returned to the grid to try and remove the tape marking for McLaren driver Lando Norris's grid position at the United States Grand Prix. Half of the fine was suspended for the rest of 2025 on condition that the incident doesn't happen again. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's get the very latest from the roads with Karabo Chale. Take us home, please.
Well, at this stage, we're still dealing with that accident scene in the Roodepoort area. That's in the Bosman area on the N1 northbound before Albertina Sisulu, causing about a 20-minute delay all the way from the Soweto Highway. Protea Lane also bumper-to-bumper traffic. R559 Main Road opposite GOG Gardens. In Calvin Alex area, we still have those roadworks causing heavy delays towards Germiston. N3 southbound between the Between Interchange and London Road. Boksburg roadworks also causing heavy delays heading towards Brakpan. N17 eastbound, that's approaching Rondebold Road in Benoni. Expect some delays on Atlas Road heading towards the N12. And in Hermanstad, Pretoria, leaving the Joburg CBD, traffic remains sluggish on Eskiam Pahlele. This is between Vomhagen and the R18. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It won't just be minds in a room, it'll be futures in the making. Are you ready to claim yours? The South African Future Trust Summit on 702. Your summit, your way.
The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank, returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November. In partnership with Standard Bank, the summit will bring together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Join masterclasses with industry experts who will share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Book your seat now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702. Now, we have been running a competition which will give somebody an opportunity, not just alone, but to go with 4 other people as well to attend the summit. We've had some interesting entrants, and we've got one of them on the line. Rodney is on the line from Menlyn Park. Rodney, a very good afternoon to you.
Hi, good evening, John.
So you've got to tell us why you want to attend the South African Future Trust Summit, how it will benefit you, and presumably if it benefits you, because you're in the entrepreneurial space, there's a good chance it will benefit other people. So give us your pitch, please.
Okay, yeah, no, quite right. So I'm an entrepreneur, and of course, what you're doing as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for edges.
Right.
And I can see it with a fantastic lineup that is going to be next week. And I'll have my notepad there. And of course, the big thing, John, is that type of lineup doesn't often get in one place together.
Yes.
And who knows when I'll be able to pick their minds. And of course, the other part of it is being with like-minded people. And the buzz, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. All very good reasons. So, Rodney, you are on your way to the South African Future Trust Summit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got 5 tickets.
Yes.
So I'm sure you can think of 4 people that will benefit. And all of this is thanks to the South African Future Trust Summit 2025, where bold ideas meet transformative investment on 702. So for a chance to win yourself, WhatsApp us your reason for wanting to join the South African Future Trust Summit in partnership with Standard Bank on November the 5th and November the 6th. 2 fabulous days of exciting ideas and opportunity. So send us your pitch. We could be calling you back tomorrow. And who knows, you could be on the way to the summit. If you get there, look out for Rodney and his team of 4 other people. It's 13 minutes now to 6 o'clock.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, so just to clarify something, you may have listened with interest to our interview with Mia Malan, if you missed it, about lenacapavir, which is an intervention which could make a big difference to the trajectory of South Africa. And it seems in the course of talking about it, I refer to it as a vaccine. And Sue sent me a note saying it's definitely not a vaccine, and went on to add this by way of explanation. Thank you for that. No, it is a preventative medicine. It does not invoke an immune response, which is what vaccines do. Thus, the medicine needs to be administered every 6 months. It is important to understand this distinction. Thank you for that. 12 minutes to 6.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Okay, music time. So we were wondering about today, because I must admit it was kind of gloomy. I haven't been outside for a while. I was indoors out in Centurion, and then I drove through kind of a gloom, not raining too hard, and I'm assuming it's kind of gloomy and grey. So we're wondering, rainy days, what kind of songs either make you think, or rather are you prompted to think about because of weather like today? And do you find it kind of gloomy, and do you use a song to lift your mood? I'd love to get your suggestions, please. Now, of course, you do get songs which, in their titles, capture today perfectly. Many of you from perhaps an older generation will know this song from the Carpenters. Appropriately, it is called Rainy Days and Mondays. Take a listen, and while you're listening, think of your song that connects you to the kind of weather we've had today.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. What I've got they used to call the blues. Nothing is really wrong. Feeling like I don't belong. Walking around some kind of lonely cloud. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.
So we have a rainy day and we have a Monday. Karen Carpenter. The Carpenters were Karen Carpenter. She passed sadly at the age of 32. Richard Carpenter, her brother, and they always crewed up with great musicians, including the legendary Hal Blaine on drums. So that was our pick of a song. How about yours? 072 702 1702. Days, songs for rainy days. Hopefully, those that actually lift your mood. 702 Drive, it's 10 to 6.
What I feel is coming.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
How much buy-in is there from the ANC on this, and have you had a discussion with them about it?
This is the initial announcement of the bill itself. It is still going to be introduced through a first reading debate into Parliament. We understand we're in coalition agreement with the ANC and national government, but that doesn't mean we need to agree with them all the time. Fundamentally, we are here to represent the interests of voters, and we need to make sure that we call for the policy changes that are required in order to create an inclusive South Africa.
Matt Cuthbert.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
In a world where safety matters, you deserve protection you can trust. CIRA regulates South Africa's private security industry, ensuring only trained and qualified providers serve the public. From bodyguards and assets in transit to electronic security, investigations, event safety, locksmiths, and guarding. Every service must meet the highest standards. CIRA, protecting you and those who protect you.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. It's Selma from Roodepoort. The song I think of is It's Raining Again by 10cc. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
Hi, John and 702 listeners. So, my song on a gloomy day is relatable to a concert that was in the rain. I wasn't there, obviously, but it's on YouTube. The video's on YouTube, but the song is shot in the rain and the crowd and everything gets going. It's Iris by Goo Goo Dolls. And when you see the rain and the way they perform, and yeah, man, it's just, it takes you into another universe. So yeah, Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, concert shot in a rainy day. I don't know what was the location of this concert, but yeah, excellent song. Thanks.
And I'd give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your light. And sooner or later it's over. I just don't wanna miss you tonight, and I don't want the world to see me.
Yeah, that's a great song. That I really enjoy that. Iris by the American band Goo Goo Dolls. It was actually written for the soundtrack of a 1998 movie. I don't think I saw it. Nicolas Cage, Meg Ryan, called City of Angels. See the movie? Any good? Is it one I should add to my long list of missed movies? Let's hear from a few more of you.
Drive Home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Great show again. With the songs, Weather With You by Crowded House. That song is amazing for every kind of weather you can get. Anyway, have a great Monday.
Walking round the room singing stormy weather at 57 Mount Pleasant Street.
Crowded House from all the way from New Zealand. Weather with You. Very, very nice song indeed. Okay, we got a few more. Let's take a listen to some of your suggestions. All of these songs, I could imagine, would go a long way to actually warding off the wet Monday blues. Let's hear.
I guess that's why they call it The Blues by Elton John. That would be my rainy day song.
Hey, Ntate John. Rainy Night in Georgia by Brooke Benton. Mzwandile the Hill, Joburg South.
Hoovering by my suitcase, trying to find a warm place to spend the night. Heavy rain falling, seems I hear your voice calling, it's alright. A rainy night in Georgia.
Rainy Night in Georgia, the Brooke Benton version. He brought that out in 1970. Randy Crawford did a version of that I like very much as well. This one from Rob, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, always makes me laugh. From the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I think the scene I remember from that, they were on a bicycle. BJ Thomas did the music, if I'm not mistaken. Catherine Ross, possibly, and Paul Newman, or Robert Redford. I think it was Paul Newman who got to have the bike ride. Yeah, nice. This one from Dima, Toto with Bless the Rain Down in Africa. Also another excellent choice. Here's one more, though, on the voice notes. No? Okay, I thought we had another song lined up for you, but we don't. I was expecting we would... What else? What's the Creedence song that they always play at cricket? Who'll Stop the Rain? Or have you ever seen the rain? That's a popular one as the crowds threaten. Yes, we have. That's how we know it's cricket season.
Hi, John. Great show as always. For me, it would have to be Phil Collins, Rain Down.
Hi, John. I think, this is Mo here in Gauteng. Yeah, I believe that the Bee Gees, You Win Again, is the best song that takes you through the rain. It's a happy song. It keeps you, thinking about those olden days, It's like bum para bum para bum para bum. Bum para bum 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 bum. That's a nice song. Thank you. Bye.
Sound of the Bee Gees, Raining in Baltimore by Counting Crows, came in from Gabby. Too late for us to fish it out because we're out of time on 702 Drive. Have a great Monday. From all of us, good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. Good evening. On your